Let's get started.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
Do not attempt to adjust your dial. I'm transmitting live. Yo,
Let's get down to business.
Now let's get it all in perspective. We did it like that, and now we do it like this.
All right.
for the underground world, every street and borough.
You may learn something.
You are now listening to the Joe Rogan Experience with Chico, Simon, Kamar, and your host, Matt Floyd.
Welcome back to another episode of the Joe Rogan Experience. My name is Matt Floyd, joined as always by Kamar.
Welcome to the party.
And Simon.
How's it going?
What we do is very simple. The three of us have listened to every episode of the Joe Rogan Experience this week. We're going to rate each episode as well as the week on a scale of 1 to 5 Jamie Vernons. And then we're going to talk about each guest, the talking points, give our opinions, this, that, and the next. Kamar, how was your week?
It was a great week there, Matt. Turned the old 4 or 5. So, still alive.
Yes, happy birthday.
Yeah, happy birthday, Kamar.
I would be happier if Simon had forgotten, but since he's a better friend of mine, he wished me happy birthday.
That's very true.
Made me
Kamar.
feel the end part of his guilt trip.
That's never going to happen.
But I went out for dinner, and it was just so unnatural. It was just like, fuck it.
Gross.
With the people wearing masks, and there's no menus, so you have to do the QR code with your phone to look at the menu, and it's just, it's more hassle than it's worth trying to enjoy yourself.
I think that they should give you paper menus and then just burn them when they're done.
Yeah.
What's going on here? Are we animals?
Well, that's not good for the environment.
Matthew, are we animals?
No, you're right. We burn everything and put it up into the environment. We're humans. That's how we do it.
Thank you.
Someone told me they were at the Rippers, and all the Rippers have to wear masks, and I was like, "That is fucking incredible." I was like,
That might work out well for the
That's
Rippers.
so good.
So wait a second. The Rippers wear masks and the people wear masks, or
I assume
just
everyone
one or
wears
the other?
masks, but I just think it's hilarious. The
Only
thought of
when
a
you're
girl
walking around.
The thought of a girl wearing like a thong bikini on her face and her ass is fucking. That's so good to me.
You see more of her ass than her face.
That's it. Yeah. It also is really good for those girls that had total butter faces. You know what I mean? Like the ones where you.
Well, yeah, that's where it might come in handy.
Or
That's it.
herpes.
Okay, sure, or that.
I'm just
yeah.
saying.
No, you're right. Throwing it out this. We're just spitballing here, Simon. There are no wrong answers.
It
Okay.
adds a little mystery.
Oh fuck, man, that's terrible.
But did you guys see David Cho posted that video of the dogs chasing the baboon?
You sent it to us.
Doesn't the baboon look so human? The way
Yeah,
he's
that's
like,
the idea.
well, no, I mean, it feels like it isn't, but it's like a guy in a suit. It's so weird.
I did not like it.
It was,
But
it was
again,
weird,
it's
eh?
the same thing as the little fucking monkey pulling the kid off the bike and stealing robbing the kid. Like that's pretty human-like. Like it almost seems like a little guy in a fucking monkey costume just stealing a kid.
That foundation got a huge boost. And this is something we've neglected over the years.
Yeah,
the Rogan bump. But
Isn't it weird? I'm more affected by the baboon getting killed by the dogs than I am the child being stolen by the monkey.
you feel more for the baboon than the child.
Well, I mean,
There's just something about getting hunted by dogs.
I assume
that's what it must
and
be.
I assume that monkey didn't actually get the baby. I think.
Of
the baby
course, you
fell.
assume a
changes-
human
that changes
intervened,
everything.
and it was all just a
maybe
fun
the
joke.
one with the camera. I don't know.
It's like I don't know if you saw that video. It was floating around the internet. I'll say 5 years ago, maybe it was 10, but let's say 5 years ago. Of in Quebec, it was like a falcon or a hawk swooping down in a park and like picking up a kid.
Fake.
Yeah, it was fake. Yeah, that was my point.
Yeah,
Was,
I know. I'm sorry about.
it's fake.
Fake
This fucking
news.
conspiracy prick over here.
But
fucking asshole.
I trust David Cho.
Debunked.
Debunked. He's so real. I don't think he'd send something fake, and it just looks so fake.
Oh, I don't think it was. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, it was also the footage, right? Like,
And I also, I guess this is a good point, is that I also don't think just because that was fake that necessarily a giant eagle couldn't take a baby away. It's kind
have
of.
you not seen the eagles that drag goats down the
Yeah,
mountains?
well,
Like,
we have. We just don't have those in Canada. You know what I mean?
we don't have
Or
goat
in
dragging
America.
eagles.
But it's kind of like crop circles, okay? And I've seen a lot of new crop circles popping up lately, and they're really well done. And crop circles got debunked because
Yeah, a couple of British guys were like, "This is how we do it using these planks."
this is how we do it, these two old men. And everybody was like, oh, that's what it is. Debunked. Every crop circle is just two old men. You know what I mean?
That's funny. That's what my tramp stamp says. Every crop circle is just two old men.
That's not necessarily true. It's like, again, if you were trying to cast shade on the crop circles, you'd use the two old men, a la your tramp stamp, and everybody would just be like, oh yeah, all crop circles are shit. But I don't think that's the case, man. I think some crop circles are shit, and some crop circles are unexplained. And then now that everybody knows that, I'm sorry, I'll get off this in 1 second.
I was just going to say, so in retrospect, Kamar, your week was good.
I still don't think about crop circles.
Now that everybody knows that these guys are making the crop circles, why would anybody else bother making crop circles at this point? Do you think it's easy to go out there with those planks and make crop circles?
No, but hold
not.
on, but hear me out. In a drone world, now there's actually more. Now it makes more sense to make crop circles than ever. Because before you had to make a crop circle, wait for a news company to show up.
What do you think you're getting out of the crop circles, Maddie?
What do you mean? What am I personally getting out
If
of it?
you and I go out there tomorrow and
Yeah.
make a crop circle,
Yeah.
what do you think we're going monetarily?
I don't know.
Bazingas. What do you think we're getting?
Well, it depends. Like maybe
Zero. We're
Stop.
getting zero.
How do you know? Maybe I have a YouTube channel called My Drone Footage of My Crop Circles, and I have 1 million fucking subscribers. And
If he vlogs it,
see, Kamar's already on board. Kamar's like, why have we not started this?
because it's a lot of work.
So it's a lot of work.
But listen, doing
you
this
can't-
podcast is a lot of work. We
can't
still do it every week.
No.
You can't fuck up.
Going out in the field and chomping down everything in big circles.
And not only
It's a lot
that,
of
Kamar, like you're smoking a joint in the middle, and then all of a sudden you like step. So you're fucked, man. Whole crop circle ruined.
No,
I don't.
no,
I don't think
that's
so.
not how
I
it
think
works.
for this guy, they look a
You
lot
don't
more
know.
detailed than
You
they
don't know.
It's like when you see what you think is a hot girl from a mile away, and then you get close and you're like, oh, it's a guy.
Crop circle goggles.
Crop circle goggles.
Simon, how was your week? Since you just stole Kamar's
Well,
thunder.
yeah, I mean, he can have. You want the rest of my week? It's all yours.
Oh, and I thought you were.
You have
building-
more things
I
to
thought you were
talk
building.
about?
No, no.
I mean, it was his birthday.
I thought you were building.
Yeah.
Look at how dismissive he's being
Happy
too.
birthday. Happy birthday.
I thought you were building paths you want to talk about or something.
Oh, yeah.
Something big.
Metaphorically, or
No,
Well,
portals.
A little a little metaphorically.
Okay.
But mostly
mostly literal.
literally I've been building paths. I built one up at the cottage, like a path to the shower. And then I'm building one in the city now, a beautiful flagstone path. And
So use a shovel and rock. Basically, those are your tools.
Path to the Showers,
A
also Simon's young autobiography.
weird. Sorry, what, Kamar?
I'm just wondering what you use to build these.
Well, I use a shovel.
Mhm.
I use a knife, a serrated bread knife. I use stone dust.
Hold on, yeah, I'm with Kamar. So
Back to-
you're to build your paths, you use a shovel, which I
slice
was
through
with.
those rocks
a
like
shovel,
butter.
I was like, okay, well, I mean, I guess if I was building a path, a shovel would be on the list.
I'm
and then
using
you said serrated bread knife.
individual stones. So instead of digging up the whole path, putting the stones in, and then planting grass around it, I'm literally going to put the stone down, cut around it with the bread
Oh,
knife
so you have a nice green border around the stone.
around everything. Yeah, man. I'm no fucking amateur here, buddy. This is pro level shit.
Adds up.
Yeah.
And the
Anyway,
stone dust is a level.
so
Hopefully there's some Mason listening who's like, that is the most amateur way of doing it ever.
it 100% is the most amateur way of doing it ever. That is the Jew way. I'm not, but I think I did miss my calling there. I think I could have been a path builder.
Never too late.
Again, maybe metaphorically, you could just become a path builder.
Yeah, and that way
Right.
I could live up to kind of, what the universe intended for me to build paths,
Yeah, path builder.
neural paths.
Gotcha.
I'm going to be a DMT coyote.
Kamar's just begging to get through the fucking list.
No. Did you have a good week?
No, of course not.
Fantastic.
Well, then let me use some of Matt's
That's
time.
a running gag.
Yeah, we might as well run down the guests. We had, first of all, first name on the list is on the No Joe list. We should not even be covering this fucking episode.
Is that what we meant by the No Joe list? If
No.
they're on, we do not review it.
Yes.
Is that what we meant?
Yes, and I distinctly remember, we can go back and check the audio, but I distinctly remember the last time Mike Baker was on, we all said, this guy is shit. He's done on this show.
Interesting.
Well,
I also thought that we would never hear from him again.
I guess we are not men of our words because, kicking off the week, we had ex-CIA Mike Baker, possibly co-writer of Winds of Change. Then we had the definitive word on gender studies with Dr. Debra Soh, 1520. Then a real powerful one, 1521, Josh Dubin and Jason Flom. And we finished up with just the Prince of Hollywood, I'd say 1522.
The Prince of Hollywood.
Rob Lowe.
I like that, Kamar. I like that a lot.
All right. Well, thanks for the rundown, Kamar. Let's rate it, shall we? We'll rate the week. We'll start with Simon de Bolivar.
I'm going to give this week... Oh, shit. Okay, so terrible. Who was the third one?
What are you talking about?
Freedom Project,
Innocent
guys.
Project.
Innocent Project.
And then Rob Lowe, who just the fucking Prince of Hollywood. I mean, guy's amazing. How about a 3.5?
Okay.
And that's given those last two podcasts just so much weight.
Well, you're never giving anything a 5, so
Because the first two are garbaggio.
Interesting.
all right. Kamar, let's hear your rating.
I give the week a 3.5.
I'll give it a 4.
And now I find out how it came to that. Gut reaction.
We're gonna see your math. Is that what you're saying?
I don't know if you ever see my math, but I just blurt it out. I don't think about it at home. Like when Matt asks.
Well, I don't think about it at home
think about
either.
it either.
Okay,
Clearly.
we're all in the same boat. I could have said 4.
Do you think I sit here like thinking about it for 2 minutes and I have it written right here and it's just all for the fucking drama?
I'm just saying, through this process, I say the score, and then as we go through the week, my score was off.
I love the thought that you think I'm driving here and I'm like, hey Siri, what's 3 plus 3 plus 4 plus 4.5 divided by 4?
Average medium. Let's go.
I didn't think that. I think I was just speaking rhetorically.
Okay.
Retardedly. I agree.
I think your 3.5 will stand true, Kamar. For you, I think my 4 will end. No, I think I'm good. I think Simon will be off on his number.
Lowballed a couple suckers.
Well, because he never gives higher than like a 4.2. So if 2 of them got the highest he could give, which is 4.2, that makes he's going to shit on the other 2. So it's an almost impossibility for it to get a 3.5 and for the math to work out. But we'll get there.
Very interesting, Dr. Jones.
This guy, listen to fucking Dr. Calculus over here. Let's
Well,
just
if you
start this shit
carry the 4.
I'm ready.
Let's do it.
1519. The fucking guy we said we weren't going to review again, Mike Baker.
Yet here we are.
Yet here we are. Wasn't he just on, first of all?
Well, let's say this. He had the Manson guy on since the last time he had Mike Baker on. So you almost knew that he had to have, like Mike Baker said, he's like, I brought notes, my laptop, my CIA handler
Yeah.
drove me here.
And
It almost
still,
doesn't add up because he stammers so much.
and still came so unprepared.
Yeah, that's
like
what it
it
seemed
doesn't
like.
make any fucking sense. We're gonna get there. I have so many examples of how this guy is like. He must have been the Mr. Magoo of the fucking CIA. Like
What did that-
Mr. Bean trying out for the fucking academy, you know?
What did you do at the CIA, Mike? Well, actually, I worked on a really comprehensive machine that put out coffee for.
Yeah. Have you ever heard of this thing? It's really revolutionary. Stammer, a broom. Like, who is this fucking
I would
guy?
find out if they're like cream or sugar, and with subcategories and other groups, serve it
Anyways.
to my fellow workers.
Bob Lazar comes back on and is like, yeah, I remember him serving coffee to everyone at Area 51.
So can we play a little game to start?
Sure. Is this a new game we're going to start doing?
No. This is just a little one-off. So you know the doctor who believes in the demon sperm
Yeah, the new one that Trump's
and the
touting.
hydrochloride,
Yeah. Hydrochloroquine.
hydrochloroquine, whatever it is. I don't know, man.
Seen the memes?
Whatever. She also mentioned in that speech, in that video, she also mentioned toys being the devil's tool.
Yeah.
And
Couldn't agree with her more.
I'm interested to know what toy she was talking about. So what do you think? What is the...
Tickle me.
Playmobil, obviously.
What toy has been co-opted by the CIA? That's the better question. The same way they wrote Winds of Change. And now that we know this and it's changed our worldview on what the CIA does, I think they've been doing shit like this forever, i.e., they've been making toys. I think, personally, I'll go first. I think the CIA are responsible for the fidget spinner. I don't know what they were trying to do, Matt. Just before you jump in, I don't know what the point was, but I think they had a hand in it.
Well, I was going to say you'd
No pun
obviously
intended.
have to sit here and say that video games are total CIA op.
Yes. I mean, listen,
Well, that's how they're finding agents.
why for the video games, finding agents or maybe getting us ready for the alien, getting everybody first shooter ready, you know?
Yeah. It's a lot like shooting a real firearm.
I think it would have to be the Frisbee, the real weapon of the White Devil.
You know what? Now that you mention it, the Frisbee is by far the most oppressive of the toys. I mean, really, when you think about it, like of all the toys that have held people back generations, the Frisbee, it just stands alone as like a
and
real
still lives
bigot.
on.
And not only that, it led to Ultimate Frisbee, which is the devil's game.
And Frisbee golf.
Shut your mouth.
You know about Frisbee
I
golf.
love Frisbee golf. I don't even fuck around.
You know that if you throw a Frisbee hard enough, it looks like a swastika, right?
I did not know that.
Well, there you go.
You know who loves Frisbee?
Hitler.
Mel Gibson.
He was a professional Frisbee player before he became a movie star and a bartender.
I think he's now gone back to it.
Do you know that Frisbee came over with Operation Paperclip?
Yeah, it did. What's his name?
Simon, yes, and that so quickly. Werner von Braun.
Werner von Braun. All he did was play Frisbee. Oh, and hacky sack. So there you go.
But you know where he got Frisbee from, right? The aliens.
Oh, that makes sense. Well, you know what hacky sack means in German?
Lazy Jew?
That's right.
Yeah. We kick around the lazy Jew, yeah?
Anyways, it's like Haagen-Dazs.
So, do you guys know how you feel about hydrochloroquine?
I don't feel a way
When-
about something I know nothing about.
This is the big question. Here's the big question, okay? If you get... No, we're going to do this differently.
Okay, we're gonna do this differently.
Universe.
When you get
this
corona.
is purely theoretical. When Kamar gets corona. And the whole idea behind hydrochloroquine is that you have to take it really quickly.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to have to make that decision fast on the fly. What are you going to do?
Let me ask you this. Well, no, but both of you. Neither of you are going to take the vaccine, but you're both willing to take this hydrochloroquine.
I haven't said what I'm doing yet, Quine.
No, we all said we'd take the vaccine a couple months ago.
No, but we've also said that we don't know what we're doing.
Because it's mental gymnastics to live your life trying to avoid getting it until a private company administers it to you, right? Because that's what a vaccine is, basically a small dose of COVID.
Actually, I think the way they make this vaccine isn't with the actual...
You like to think that.
That's a new process.
Kamar, you'd like to think that. Wouldn't you, round earth boy?
I thought it was interesting how he said, how pandemic is so pejorative right now. It just really means something's crossed a
Yeah, it just means that it's crossed the border. Yeah.
We're in a pandemic. And it's like we have to sort of grow up and say this shit is going to happen. It's happened. And not such a bad word because there's endemics too, right?
Yeah, but
Yeah, but the problem was Ebola was a pandemic. It had crossed the border, but it wasn't anywhere near what this is.
and to me,
Ebola is far more
isn't
deadly.
it?
Yeah, but okay.
Isn't it just a
You have to
semantical
get it by getting
thing
shit in your mouth pretty
at
much.
that point? You know what I mean? Like, who cares what you call it? Everybody's getting
Well,
sick.
no,
like, pandemic, apocalypse, fucking.
Well, no.
the sickness, the plague, whatever. Fuck.
It's there's an endemic, there's an epidemic, and there's a pandemic.
Yeah, I don't care what any of those things
Well, an
are.
endemic is something like chickenpox, so it's around you all the time, and you just cohabitate with it. It just what his point was, he thinks the media's hatred of Trump is creating more fear in people about everything. Like he said, I think if Joe Biden wins, you'll see a different slant on the direction we're going. It'll be interesting to see. I don't think he's going to win anymore because Trump's dope moves, but just the media is the worst about this whole thing.
I mean, I'll agree with you there. Joe at one point was like, yeah, Antifa seems really organized. Yeah, they are organized. That's the point.
But they're not.
I don't think
Yes,
they're
but
organized.
they totally are.
They don't have a common goal.
But they do. They have a doctrine and everything.
Hold on, but does organized just mean like a bunch of people show up somewhere at the same time? Because that to me isn't that's not necessarily organization.
No, I think you'd be surprised how much behind the scenes goes on to these things. Like, we just assume that it's like, yeah, let's all get together at the fucking church steps or at the fucking city hall. No, I think it's like...
I also think it's far less people than you think, making the
Concerted-
organization a lot easier.
Okay, maybe.
Do you think?
I mean, they do.
Go ahead, Kumar.
Do you think everyone should condemn Antifa?
I think everybody should.
They shouldn't have
condemn it.
supporters.
I do not think so.
I agree.
I think they're the strong arm of the left, and like without ever having to get hired for the job. You know what I mean?
It's very interesting because their name, like everyone should be against fascism, right?
Well, that's the whole rub is like, you know, you're a huge racist, but you're going to name your group We Love Everybody, but you're out there doing shit that is clearly not loving everybody.
Dude, I just thought of the best name for our next podcast. If you don't listen to this, you're a fucking racist.
Done. That's an instant winner.
Yes, brilliant.
Trademarked.
If you don't like and subscribe,
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
and buy merch,
See what I'm
you're a
saying?
son of a bitch.
That's what I'm. Listen, this shit writes itself. Like,
no.
Try to defend yourself.
It totally
try to defend yourself.
It totally does. The first T-shirt is buy this shirt or you're an anti-Semite.
If you aren't wearing this shirt, you're a racist.
But I thought he articulated my point better, that you can't actually get rid of racism. So it's just a weird, lofty goal to set all your
you
energy
think
on.
Mike Baker articulated your point better? Fuck, go have tea with this guy.
Were you offended when he said that?
I
on,
think
let me
he's
ask you
a
this.
fucking
Hold on.
asshole, so I don't care what the fuck he
Kamar,
says.
let me ask you this, and I have to jump ahead to answer your question here. If we jump ahead 2 episodes, we find out that systemic racism is 100% real. So we can at least get rid of that as a start. You would agree, right?
Yeah, in the institutions, but to actually think that we're going to build a world without racism would have to be every country in the world.
Wait. Hold on, but fine. I mean, that's like also, you could argue pollution that way too, and fine. I'm sure people do, but wait.
I think pollution is more realistic than racism as a thing to
But
combat.
do you not strive for it still?
Yeah, of course, a personal accountability.
So then-
But hold on.
But to put all this energy, all these people protesting, what are they actually doing?
But this is where you're wrong, is the idea, Kamar, we're not trying to make the whole world not racist. If we can make the place where we live, and we can say to people, the only way you can come here is if you're not doing this shit, then that's a good start. And at least then maybe another country will... Simon's just tossing out notes here. I love how you have a fucking, just a shoddy old notepad like you... Did you listen to this in a hotel lobby?
Times are tough, man.
I bet. I don't know. I can't remember what we were talking about.
We were talking about Kamar not being able to see a world without racism. I really don't want to have this argument again because we're going to get stuck. There's way more bashing of Mike fucking whatever the fuck his name is to do. Yeah, no, but you keep just before we, you know what? I'm not even going to bother. It doesn't matter. But just back to this Antifa thing for a second. You know, he made an interesting point, which was, I can't believe I'm saying this. He made an interesting point. Maybe it wasn't him. Maybe it was Joe. If the Proud Boys were trying to tear down City Hall in Seattle, it wouldn't be the same type of reaction that's going on to Antifa trying to do it. And that's the truth. You know what I mean? And I don't know what that means in the big scheme of things, but I think it's true.
Well, okay, first of all, I think we'd have to look at, like, now that we know where the Proud Boys, that's a terrible example, only because we know that the Proud Boys were started as like a joke and as a drinking thing and then turned into what it turned into. So
I just look at them as the right version of Antifa.
Fine, but at least you could look at Antifa, at least by name. Antifa is something that you could, if you were just totally off the street, a dummy, you could be like, well, anti-fascism, that sounds like something I could get behind. Whereas Proud Boys...
Yes, because it's anti-fascism. Well, of course, we're all anti-fascists.
But you see what that's kind of the point
Without
I'm
doing the
making.
research.
That's it.
Okay.
I liked how he called them trustafarians.
That's the first time you've heard that?
No, I just liked how he called it because he tries to say stuff.
So if you...
I love when he tries to be funny and like laughs at his own jokes.
He's
and then
the
it's
only
just-
one laughing. He's laughing. Muggsy and Sluggo back home are laughing.
Scooter.
But that's
He's
it.
the only one laughing.
So if you put your tongue on the roof of your mouth when you're about to sneeze, no sneeze. Did you know that?
Is that COVID advice?
Yeah, I guess because sneezing is bad news now.
That's a whole page of notes.
So how about a JRE news channel? I was thinking about this a little bit. We trust Joe. We need news we can trust. That thing kind of writes itself, man.
I think we
I
just
love
go
how this
back to
"we trust Joe." What is this shit? Joe says a lot of things that I...
For the most part, though, I have to put my trust in Joe. You know what I mean? I'm not going to do this show if I don't think that Joe has the good heart, you know?
But that's different. I mean, listen. Okay, go ahead. I'll let you continue.
That's it.
I like to go back to news at 5 and 11.
5 and 11. I'm with you.
It doesn't matter.
It became more important.
If there's ads running during that news, then I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
You could run the news 15 times a day.
Obviously, the motivation for what they're putting the message out is behind money, but just not inundated with breaking news that isn't breaking. It used to be just, you saw the news at 5 or 11. The rest of the time you couldn't worry. I mean, obviously, the internet, you can look up as much stuff as you want. But
then it gives, the only problem with that, Kamar, is it gives that news too much weight because you're only getting it.
Oh, there's still 100 channels or 100 different newses you could watch.
Okay.
I'll just put it to you this way. I think we've gone so far past that I don't think just moving the news back to 5 and 11. Like, the news is still on global at 6 and 11. That has not changed.
But it's just like you can go stress about it for 24 hours a day on CNN or CNNBC or any
So
of these
you're
25 news
going to
channels.
have to stop the internet in order to do that.
Well, I don't even know if it matters because TV's dead. So maybe in 10 more years, it will just be a...
Well, you're going to have a chip in your head, in your spine, that is just putting the news constantly into your eyes.
But we at least have to accept
into
whether
your
you listen to
brain.
Fox or CNN.
At that point, I think you're listening to station Elon, so it's not going to be an issue.
You get the chip paid for, but you get all these servers with it.
King Elon and Lord Emperor Gates there's only going to be one station at
Sounds
that
pretty
point.
bleak.
The point, Simon, is, let me ask you this. The JRE network, since it's going to have both sides, like, what do you have? You have Alex Jones on for an hour, and then after that you have someone...
For every view, you give both sides. So for every story you want to cover something about Palestine and Israel, you're getting both sides. And that's how you do it. Every hour that's good. Every hour.
But you're kind of
split
forgetting that
into
that's
two.
what CNN was for a long time. It was, let's just get two people that differ on views, sit them at the same table, and they can just bicker for 15, 20 minutes.
Hey,
And then
sounds great. It's been a long time since CNN's been like that. And now...
But that's what... But Fox News is still based on that. You don't agree with that?
No.
Well, I mean, now
They
it's just five people that all
nobody
agree with each
ever
other. But
has a differing view. That's the point.
But what I'm
one
saying
side
is, like-
left, one side is right, and you're getting one view from one and one view from the other, but never on the same, never having a
I'm just saying,
conversation.
Hardball was like 10 years ago, and it wasn't like game-changing, in my opinion. Would you agree, Kamar?
No, but it is the...
No, he doesn't agree.
the crux. No. I do agree, but it's the crux of news, that format. Remember the documentary about Ava Goda and not Ava Goda. It was William H. Hinckley oh man. It was the beginning of election and they had a liberal and a conservative and he called him a crypto Nazi and he said, I'll smash your head and ruin his career. You
Oh,
remember
it
that?
was the non-religious guy there that Matt likes. What's his name?
No, it wasn't him.
The atheist? No.
It wasn't him. But in any event,
Dawkins.
that format of having the liberals and the conservatives argue has always been money. But now they've got it that they have their own echo chambers.
And these massive echo
And they let
chambers.
the other people fight.
Anyways, he didn't seem to believe at all that Manson was being run by the CIA.
He doesn't know
He
what he
gave
believes.
that zero weight.
He doesn't know what he believes.
Listen, I mean, Mike Baker's a company man. We knew that he was going to come on and be like, listen, the CIA was doing a lot of stuff. What kind of volition do you give to all this, though? Like,
Yeah, exactly. This fucking asshole goes, what did he say? He's like, we need to listen to the CIA's. I need to hear the CIA's point of view on this whole Manson thing. I read the book, but I need to hear the other side now from the CIA.
Well, he did a bit of research and said that there are paper trails that say they bought these drugs.
He is a fucking cuck.
You know what
man.
I was thinking?
Cucks in America. CIA.
I have a question for Simon then. Since you just said 2 seconds ago that you have to trust Joe. We did a throwback yesterday for Tom DeLonge. We spoke about how he's never apologized.
Patreon
He's never mentioned Tom DeLonge. He's never mentioned that Tom DeLonge was right. All this stuff. Yet he has Mike Baker on almost like quarterly. So let me ask you, a conspiracy-minded person would have to think at this point, I don't know.
Yeah, Joe is fucking bought and sold by the CIA. I said this a couple of weeks ago, man.
But you just finished saying that you trust him.
I trust him enough to put a news network
You
together.
can't trust the CIA.
I don't understand this. So you want Joe's CIA news network, to be up and running.
I really don't think Joe is being run by the CIA. It is a possibility, but I don't think so.
So Mike Baker said, well, these other countries are doing this, so that stuff's going to happen. But I was thinking, what if it was just a faction of the CIA that was just sick fucks? And they're just doing this thing at the rock. It wasn't nefarious about it or anything. They're just like, let's get people fucked up and watch them fuck.
Maybe, yeah.
Like, that's not out of the realm of possibility.
It's not. We know that they were like using it on their own people.
Yeah.
Just to see what would happen.
Think about it too. You're a CIA guy, you're on salary, and they're like, they give you carte blanche, and you're like a fucking wild freak.
Like, I don't want to spy. I want to fuck.
Yeah, you're like, you know what? I'd rather just watch people fuck all day. And then you think to yourself, like, there's no way this will work, right? And then you're like, but you know what? I saw that guy staring at goats down the hall. Maybe this will work. I'll try to pull this off.
But then the conspiracy-minded person thinks there's so much more to it.
Guy staring at
You know what I mean? And I think he said it's weird how Manson he acknowledged that. I'm not trying to defend him.
Holy shit. You are totally trying to defend him. What is going on here? Did the CIA get to you, Kamar?
If he had said this book is fucking kakapooey, I don't know what it is. He
pretty much said that until Joe was like fought back on it, and then he had to qualify the words that were coming out of his stupid CIA mouth.
Listen, he said in this is the weirdest comment ever. Mike Baker was like, I'm a conspiracy guy. Yeah, I was like,
he's lost.
You know what was interesting? I don't like him. But I can respect when he's like, what the fuck is the American politicians going on break in August?
Yeah.
Because this is the exact same thing we had the Canadian version, remember, in June.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to go on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Anyway, it's just throwing that out there.
At least their defense in the States is that they're going back to see their constituents. It's not a vacation. The break is to go back and be in
all the constituents at my lake.
Yeah, exactly.
No, but listen,
exactly.
listen.
My constituents at my private golf club.
Can one of the constituents drive my boat while I water ski behind
just
it?
happen to have one constituent that dances on a pole.
With a mask on. Yeah.
And they owe all my attention.
All I was saying was at least under that guy's, like Simon said, we do it totally. They're just like, we're taking a month off. At least they do it under the guise of like.
The same line. They go on to see their back to their neighborhood to see their consists.
I'm pretty sure in Canada it's just
constituents.
Constituents.
What is going on here?
Dude, you sound like
you're using words I don't use.
Did you hear Bisbang? Did you hear Michael Bisping this week talking about Brian Callen?
Not yet.
Trying to say vehemently?
No.
Vehemently.
Well,
He vehemently denied.
But this guy, Mike Baker, says kind of categorically, he's like, yeah, I don't really buy that whole alien thing, the UFO thing. And then Joe's like, well, presses him a little bit. He's like, well, I haven't looked into it at all. Then he says, but we are going to cover it on my show. What the fuck are you going to bring? What new slant are you going to bring to this on your show? It's been covered on...
That was my real qualm with this was shameless plugs.
What an asshole.
No, Mike, you don't do that. You do not do that, Mike. Man. You know better, Mike.
Asshole.
No, Mike doesn't know better.
I thought it was interesting when he was talking about how chaotic the mail-in election could be. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, you know what, though? Listen, I think he's just dead wrong. And also, if you look at the numbers of mail-in ballots in the last 20 years, it's a huge number. And they get it done. And listen,
they won't get it done the day of.
Let me ask you this.
His point being is there should be voting up until.
Yeah, my question is this.
I think that makes sense.
On one hand, he was like, how are we going to let people vote in September? The thing could totally change in the next 2 months. But then he was also like, why don't we just open the polls now? Well, which is it, Mike?
I think open the polls now.
Well, fine. Who gives a shit?
For anyone's. Well, America in particular, if it takes 10 days for them to declare a winner, if that just happens, it's going to be horrible.
It wasn't. They recounted when fucking George Bush had that thing, and
he stole that election.
Well, yeah,
that's horrible.
I'm just saying.
At first, I didn't hear. I couldn't think of mail-in ballots, whatever you want to do. But that point made me think, if the longer period it is,
that's one point, and I truly think it's a terrible. And listen, Trump talking about all this voting fraud. Do you know what the numbers are on voter fraud? It's so staggeringly low, and you know why? Because it's a jail sentence. It's a felony offense.
Well, we'll see if they have an election and it takes a couple days for them to find a result.
No matter what,
shitstorm.
it just opens up the door for both sides to
Yeah. Oh no.
say there were fucking weasels in the punch bowl.
It's not like a pick a party. It's back to, and we'll get into it in the third guest, but the whole system's fucked.
It'll be ironic, though, when Trump, the whole lead up, will be bitching and moaning about the system and how fucked up it is, and then he'll win, and then what does he say?
It'll be gross, yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be fucking really gross, but it's already gross, so.
It just when you think it can get grosser, it's going to get grosser.
Listen, I'm all for them mailing in their ballots.
So, Rode, I'm beginning to think Joe Biden forgot he's got to pick a vice president.
Or he's just drawing it out and drawing it out and drawing it out, and oh no, I'm not going to run. Here's who's running instead. Kamala Harris and...
I think it'd be funny if he's forgotten he's had to do it and thought he's done it.
I know who you're talking about. You're just ridiculous, and it's not going to happen.
Clinton.
Miss Clinton.
Yeah, sure, Simon.
Who claims to be named
Hillary.
after Sir Hillary. Sir Edmund Hillary.
Edmund Hillary, yes, who climbed Everest.
So Mike Baker, back to Mike Baker, his big thing about the CIA, his answer to everything was... There's no way they would be able to
I need that
keep
anyway.
the secret,
That's
right?
That was Matt's point yesterday.
It's impossible. They just can't do it.
Yes, which I agree with.
Yeah, and I disagree with. Again, compartmentalized, need to know information. Just because because they're not telling Mike Baker, yeah, they're not telling the guy who's sweeping the basement.
Why?
you
But
know?
think about the Manson thing. It took that guy 20 years, but he found all the dirt. The conspiracy was out. So it's not, you know what I mean? People spoke. It got out, compartmentalized or not, right? You agree?
Yeah,
So
maybe there are bigger secrets than that, Maddie.
again, okay. Well, again, I'm sure those bigger secrets will eventually come out.
Like, fair enough. I totally hear what you're saying. After a certain amount of years, we find out that the CIA writes winds of change, you know? Like, that happens.
You're on an island in the stream with that one, man.
I know.
It's totally undecided at the end of that one.
Anyways, whatever.
Can we just be done with Mike Baker?
Well, okay, my last one was he talked about you can't defund the police. You got to train whatever his strategic things
Sure.
to do. I think ultimately the biggest thing we could do to fight racism and police brutality is legalize drugs. And how about if you become a police officer, you have to do mushrooms once a month. Well, I don't want to do mushrooms. Well, you can't be a police officer because that would erase you know what I mean? And not like an epic trip, jumping off cliffs, drinking beers, monitored, administered session. And police would be less dicks. Whoa, the silence in the room is deafening, eh?
I don't hate it.
And what I was thinking about too is on No Jumper this week, he had MC8, and he asked him about Black Lives Matter and Floyd and everything, and he was like, the thing is, I don't want to take anything away from what happened to Floyd, but we knew this. Like, this is police brutality is a thing that when you're watching a movie and it's always like the good partner has to leave the room and the other cop goes and you hear some noise. Like, we just accepted that's part of it. Like, we don't realize it, but we're all complicit in all this time accepting a level of police brutality. So I don't know how we change that one. But it's like, just how many cop movies, and there's a thing on the news about cop movies may be problematic, but when they rough up, that's all police brutality.
Yeah, I'm
And
aware.
You probably won't see that in movies anymore.
But in the last 20 years, when you saw a cop roughing up somebody, like, that's just doing the job. He plays outside the bounds. You know what I mean? It isn't egregious. Like, oh my God. At some point in this movie, this guy's got to get investigated. He did what he did to solve the crime. It's just inner psyche. And that's a big problem. I don't know how that goes away.
Go on.
Mushrooms, once a month, police.
I like it, Kamar.
I like it too.
I like
And legalize drugs, obviously.
Obviously.
And I guess we're done with Mike Baker.
Please.
Sure, yeah. We'll let Simon read it first.
I give Mike Baker a 1. I find his view totally boring and uninteresting. And for a guy who is part of the CIA, he should really be able to give us like an inside scoop, and yet I feel more lied to when he leaves than when he comes.
Used and abused. He made me think about some things. I give it a 2. And I know I'm like, fuck this guy. He's CIA. So by definition, it's like everything comes out of his mouth is the opposite is probably true, but whatever.
I'll give it a 2.5, only because, like Kamar, I felt like this was actually one of his better appearances, oddly enough.
I sort of do.
Because he even said, someone told me last time, stop talking about my kids. Nobody gives a fuck about
Had to get him in there.
Muggsy.
Had to get him in there. And Iowa. Oh, we forgot. He's a prepper.
Dr. Prepper.
He's Dr. Prepper. That's what I should introduce him as instead of co-writer. I was going to call him Klaus, but I thought that was too overhead. Because Simon's convinced the CIA wrote Wind of Change. He's Wind of Change. Why not Mike Baker? Co-writer credits.
It's not just Simon who's convinced.
He did the
that
drums.
He wrote Winds of Change. It's pretty much
The
like
bass line for it.
He's
A
the
known
whistler.
thing.
He's the whistler.
pretty much a known thing.
All right. Well, we've rated it, so let's move on to Dr. Debra Soh. Canadian.
You want to take the number?
You want me to guess the number?
Yeah.
1521.
Oh, you were so close, Matt.
What is it? 1520.
Yeah.
Fucker.
1520, Debra Soh in a repeat performance that I didn't even realize she had been on the show before until she said I had been on the show before.
I Googled it, so that's why I was like, oh my God, she's been on before. I didn't listen to the previous one.
You know, again, you know how I feel about these discussions.
Okay, go ahead.
We just had that other lady on, Abigail, whatever her name was.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was like 3 weeks ago. So this was the exact same conversation again.
Well, no.
And then Joe-
that was a journalist. This was a doctor. There lies a difference.
I also thought this woman, I don't know. I didn't hate this. You hated this one, clearly.
Well, this is what I want to. We
Are
discuss.
you secretly transgendered and that's why you don't like talking about this?
Stop. We discuss everything on this podcast. There's nothing off the table. Diablo Avocado. Is it possible that one of Joe's daughters is going through some stuff right now?
I mean, maybe.
I mean,
Maybe.
And there's nothing to do with anything.
I don't think that's if I had to take a guess, he got into it because of the MMA,
He also said, hold on,
lady
he
who
said,
was a man on the MMA, and now he's become like an advocate for this.
he said
almost.
in this episode that a close friend of his has a daughter that's going through this right now. Didn't he say that? Am I crazy?
Well, after what I just said,
Although you never know, that could be the whole, like,
The thought bomb.
I'm asking for a friend.
Interesting.
it was very interesting because she's saying emphatically there's only two genders, and it sort of makes sense to me because even if you're transgender, you choose a gender. I think there's a very small population that are an omni or whatever it is as they go through life. You sort of settle into some gender. And
Well, isn't that what fluid means? That you can just bounce back and
I don't know what
forth?
that word means because I just learned in this podcast there's only two genders.
Well, I've known that since I knew stuff.
Definitively.
Okay, hold on a second, though. Agreed. There are two genders, male and female.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that you can't flip back and forth between those genders. I
No.
believe
You can
that
do whatever
that's
the
the
fuck you want.
idea of the term fluid.
I'm not so sure.
I don't know anything.
Well,
I'm going to look it up.
I was going to save it for the post, Joe,
I
but
don't know where my phone is.
on CBC they had a 15-year-old comedian on the other day who is transgender and gay.
So straight.
That's what I said in my horrible fucking Neanderthal mind. Like, doesn't that cancel each other out? But it's like,
Well, it's like Bruce Jenner. Bruce Jenner still eats pussy. Sorry, Caitlyn Jenner still.
sorry, YouTube, we did not mean to dead name anyone there.
Yeah, my bad.
Well, that just makes her a lesbian.
No.
Well, does it though? I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah, apparently Caitlyn Jenner has got her junk cut off. So she's now a girl.
Fine. Okay, so that makes her a lesbian.
That makes her a lesbian.
Okay.
Well, it's just not so crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, my point is she always has still been interested in the same sex. Just didn't like the dick.
doesn't necessarily, again, just plain Diablo Avocado, doesn't necessarily mean that she wasn't born in the wrong body. She could still be born into a male body when she was
Yeah,
meant
I
to be a
get that.
female, but
That's
she's
fine.
a lesbian. The same way some people are born lesbians.
But
We're saying semantically, though, it's an interesting.
this example I'm talking about is was born a young girl, has decided she's actually a boy, but is gay.
Born a young girl, is a boy,
No, born a young girl, has decided
decided
That she's a gay boy.
that she's a gay boy at 15, and this.
So guess what she still wants to do, Simon? She still wants to have sex with guys.
But knows that she wants to be a guy when she like it's too self-aware, or young people. And the thing is, the whole article is about a struggle and stuff. High school sucks for everyone.
Yeah, of
Puberty
course.
sucks. This whole change sucks, and they're getting this new idea that I'm super different in this, and it's an added struggle.
your argument is there because that person has not transitioned.
I don't
And
care.
once they transition, then they can pick whatever. They can be gay or straight.
Well, but she will never be able to have children again. And that was the mother's off, sort of not in front of her. Like
Well, some lesbians never have children because neither of them want to carry.
the
you
point
know?
being is, this kid
But
should
they
have
still
to just
could.
suffer through the next 3 years of your life,
I-
and then at 18 take the drugs.
Yeah, I'm done.
Use taxpayers' money to do whatever surgeries you want or whatever. But it's just, and I think this was the point of the last lady and this lady, is that we're giving our children way too much credit
Yeah, I agree.
for being self-aware and what they're going through.
I started thinking a little bit about like being the parent. Okay, so let's say you're a parent of a kid and they're 13 years old, 12 years old. Okay, and they're like, I feel like I belong in a different body. This is killing me. I'm depressed, blah, blah, blah. I feel like I'm going to kill myself. And you're this kid's parent and you're like, holy shit. You know what I mean? Like, maybe if I let this happen, then they're not going to kill themselves. So you let it happen. Okay. I'm not saying whether that's a good idea or not.
You decide how progressive you are.
Or you're just scared to death that your kid's going to kill themselves. So you're just like, okay,
Well,
I got to
from all
do
these cases, they still kill themselves.
I got to do something. Yeah, fine. So you let your kid transition, and then, like she's saying, they get angry at you because they're like, "How did you ever let me do that? I was 12 years old." You know, it's like it's a lose-lose. You know,
I don't think
you're
so.
going to take the chance and listen.
We teach our kids life sucks from 12 to 18, and then do whatever the fuck you want. You have all the freedom you want.
Simon,
or
I
maybe
it's-
older,
it's a
or
weird
maybe
thing.
older.
You have a kid, so let's say your son came to you and was like, "Now take out the I'm in a different body." Let's just say he picked anything and was like, "This is bothering me so much that I want to kill myself," and the only thing that's going to alleviate it is if you do whatever. Enter like the dumbest thing possible. Like he's like, unless you build a go-kart track in the backyard, that's it. Like you as a parent, you're not going to jump up and be like, I have to build this go-kart track.
I guess if no, and again, I'm not saying I would do that.
I know, but
I'm saying put yourself in the position of a parent. Neither of you guys have kids, so it's a little hard
of
for
course
you to
it
do
is.
that.
But I
for
still think
sure.
you as a parent could say, I couldn't in good conscience bend and break my will and just do what this kid wants, because I was a kid. I remember being like wanting things so bad and thinking I knew what was best. And unfortunately,
I also can imagine what it would be like if your kid was just like beyond listen, and I'm not
No.
saying that all kids are sick.
We know
no,
in
you're
life,
right. I
it
mean,
just-
I would never do that.
Those
Me
years,
personally.
those years suck for everyone. It just sucks.
listen,
People are cooler. People are losers. Like it all disappears at like 20.
Quick
everything that happens that time dissipates. And
Quick
you
poll.
start living life.
there's 3 of us here. Quick Gallup poll. Did you ever think about suicide in your teens?
No.
Really?
I
Okay.
mean,
Kamar?
I
Maybe
thought
once.
maybe
once when I got
but
caught
no.
jerking off. it was just You just think
I assume it had to have gone through your fucking head.
Of course it goes
but
through your
that's what I'm
head,
saying.
but never to like
Yeah, but my point is now when kids think about it, we are like, oh my fucking God. And it's like every single kid went through that. But now for some reason we act like it's this fucking huge deal where
and
like,
they know something we don't know. Because people think the best way to raise a child is like just let them decide everything, because we're all fucked up because we were all raised with some sort of idea given to us, and if we just let people just be whatever they want to be, we'll have perfect people.
Hold on. A really small percentage of the people raise their kids like that. The amount of parents that are letting their kids transition is like,
I don't know,
a total minority. Again, this is like a really vocal, tiny percent. It's just not big.
Keep in mind,
most parents are doing exactly what Matt's saying and are like, there's no fucking way I'm building you a go-kart track. Go back to bed, you know?
Keep in mind, though, like we were in the States. We were in Florida just before COVID got serious, like in January, early January. We were watching, my mom and my grandmother were watching so much fucking A&E. My 600-Pound Life, My Big Fat Life, My Big Fat Wedding, whatever. There was one show that they kept advertising, though, that was like this 14-year-old that had transitioned. And it was like this show, like showcasing how like brave their life was. And they were clearly, like, from the ad, I could tell that they were falling apart and that they were not, I don't know, man. Why we're celebrating this wild shit and letting, like, I don't know. We didn't do that when we were young.
Well,
we didn't take kids and we're like, you are doing so well for this weird fucking, I don't know.
I think they mentioned this podcast though, but I could imagine young girls seeing porn too young and seeing some rough stuff done to a girl and be like, I don't want that to happen to me. And just psychologically do whatever it takes not to be a girl, because they think that's what it takes to be a girl, but that's fantasy, that's porn, whatever.
Well, Simon, I thought that was
just the increase.
I thought that was the most interesting part about this podcast, was her just talking about how she was like, we have to just stop and just let women be women and let it be okay to be like,
be a tomboy, be whatever
it's okay
you
to
want.
feel how you feel, and to be like, you don't have to all of a sudden go out and be a slut just because like that's how empowerment, like, I don't know. I mean, I think women have it rough, without a doubt.
I agree with that too. I mean,
and I'm extra hard on them. So I know.
My porn argument is only with kids. Like,
get it.
With adults, do whatever the fuck
Exactly,
you want.
and that's what I think this whole discussion is about.
Anything is only with the kids. I don't give a fuck. If you're an adult, do whatever the fuck you want, as long as it's not hurting somebody else.
That's actually
at it.
That's actually the podcast was such a headache, though. Listening to Joe. So this is where Joe is actually a problem, in my opinion, because Joe sits there and is like constantly talking about how he's like, uninformed people don't listen to doctors. They don't listen to people that know the science. And then she sits there and is like, actually, it's not an addiction, because an addiction has a specific medical definition, and this does not suit that. And that's why it's not an addiction. And Joe was like, well, no, in my opinion, it's an addiction. And I've seen people that are addicted.
He fell apart, though, when he tried to say gambling's an addiction, but it's not really addictive. And it's so addictive, as we're discussing. And the thing is about drugs and sex is drugs, you're always trying to recreate the first time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, sex, you're trying to get as far from that first time as possible.
You're running for the first time. It's just different. It's a psychological thing. I think in our society, it's way more taboo than in like Europe or stuff, and that's where the big hang up is.
Well, you know dudes who like to fuck virgins?
I don't know any personally.
It's a thing.
Okay.
Right? Like,
not surprised.
You saw kids, like it's a thing. That's like,
again, though, I think that's a super small minority.
That was a rape.
That was a rape.
And that wasn't just a kink.
Whatever. I'm done.
No, whoa, hold on. Come on. What were you saying?
I don't even remember.
Okay.
I had a point and I don't remember. It got away from me.
Listen, I just think that there's, when they were talking about porn and it's like, it's progression, I mean, I don't know. There's people out there with super weird shit, and I think porn in a way tells you like, hey, listen, you're not alone in whatever fucking weird thing.
We hope that's what it does.
For adults, I think porn is fine.
But even then, I think as a kid, I think there's a lot of kids out there that are like, wow, I'm really fucked up, when maybe they're not. Maybe they just have like a slightly weird sexual fantasy.
But to that same idea, you may have, like, let's just say Kamar is 12 years old, okay?
Yeah.
And back in the day, when 12-year-old Kamar, who's totally in his brain, like,
so he's fucking a smarty
into
pack.
fucking smarty tubes. There's a great, okay? And he's like, goes online and finds a whole community of people who are into fucking smarty tubes. Now, maybe fucking smarty tubes isn't a good thing. And had he never gone online and found his community, he would have fucked the tube for a little while, and then he would have moved on to girls, like normal people.
Yeah, there's some of that going on
So
here.
it could be the reverse, you know?
Well, the reporter was saying, young girls are so impressionable. If the most popular girl goes transgender, 5 of her friends are going to try it out too.
I mean, and that's a huge problem, especially if these girls are going as far as the surgery. It's one thing if you're just fucking around with like concepts and
because on the
theoreticals, you know,
on the outside level, that 80 chance that it's a mistake or something, you are causing self-harm. And as a guardian, you would not let which you're in charge of harm themselves.
But let me ask you this, Kamar, if there are girls out there and they just want to say, you know, I'm a boy, but they're not doing anything, there's no mutilation involved, there's no right, they're just saying and it's not hurting anyone. Do you give a fuck?
No, and I didn't give a fuck before, except it was jammed down my throat, like we said with C16 with Jordan Peterson.
Jordan Peterson, this is crazy. So this guy, okay, Jordan Peterson, writes all his fucking books, gets super famous on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Gets addicted to benzodiazepines.
Yeah.
Has to go to Russia to get put into a
coma
to get out of them.
Like
While
Rush
he's
Limbaugh.
in Russia, he contracts coronavirus.
There goes our post-Joe topic. They're dropping like flies.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, you felt it. But yeah, he's got COVID now.
It came up naturally.
And it's amazing the people that are so happy. Like that's the thing. I don't care about trans or whatever. And I also don't hope COVID on some people and not on other people.
Of course not.
Of course, I don't. It's not even my thought program. But since the news broke that he's got COVID, people are like, haha, that's what you get. Like, you just see the insanity out there. It's just insanity.
Yeah, but so that's a whole other talk. Why don't we talk about that ever? We can never talk about the fact that if 40% of these people are killing themselves, then maybe...
Oh, we're talking about it.
Maybe there's some mental issues there as well that we need to fucking address. Maybe
and we can talk about it.
Well, and that's why Dr. Debra Soh, was saying that, you know, part of transitioning should be a really in-depth psychological review.
But this is my thing.
Everything.
Because I can't tell you how many times I've seen, and I get it, like you feel, I can't imagine how it feels. So let's start by that. But then let's say this. When words make you emotional and to the point where you want to attack someone or where you're just like fucking losing your shit, I think there is some mental fucking issues.
You got to look inside before you look at what you
precisely.
think is
Are you talking about someone in particular?
No, like Jordan Peterson is a good example. The video that made him famous, he was talking outside of U of T to a transgendered student, and one of them ended up attacking him. And again, he was speaking so calmly, and he was like, listen, all I'm saying is you don't want what you think you want here. This war of words that you're going for, it's not actually going to help you in the end. It's really going to actually tear down all this stuff. And like I said, one of them ended up physically attacking him. And I'm sitting there saying, like, I don't know that the transgender has anything to do with their mental. Clearly, this person had some sort of mental gap.
I think, yes, Matt, I think you're correct. And I think that this was Joe's exact point, which is this subject has become so taboo that you can't even say that anymore. You can't say...
I can. We have such a small audience. I don't give a fuck.
Well, this is it. If you like Jordan Peterson, you're all right.
I'm saying one can't say... Look, this is a pretty small subsect of people we're talking about.
It's insanely small.
It's pretty easy to see the correlations between whatever you're looking for, you know? Be it mental illness, be it... gender dysphoria, whatever little subsect that falls under.
And keep in mind,
it's not hard to see it, but you can't say it. So they're never going to, there won't be a problem solved.
I think the problem is that because then once you say it, it's like, well, why are you saying we should lock them up? And I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying we need to at least be able to talk about this stuff on a level.
Talk about everything.
And I thought Debra Soh, like, again, I thought she was very calm and very collected, and it really bummed me out because I'm sitting there thinking, like, she's a doctor. Like, she was a fucking legit doctor.
Well, yeah, it's
correct?
good that she didn't have a lot of emotion and like, we're fighting the fight. She was more like, these are the facts. And she reiterated over and over again, I do not want what I'm saying to be weaponized.
But even then, when the 40%, she was like, well, keep in mind, that study, the people that did it, number one thing they pointed out was like that maybe if they had transition when they were super young, they wouldn't have committed suicide. So the study actually shows no correlation at all. And a lot of people use that study as some sort of fodder. And I think that's an interesting point I never thought of. Maybe it's only 40% because they didn't transition when they were young. I highly fucking doubt that, but...
And how would they ever prove that?
Oh, precisely. Again, I think it's just that I think the level of suicide is so high because I can't imagine tackling that in your head for your whole life.
And, I just know from me, the multitude of times I've made mistakes in my life and been able to go back and change them, and the joy that's brought me, and had I not been able to do that, how it would have weighed on me. Like, nobody wants to be in a position where you can't change your mind,
It's not
Just
unreasonable to ask
in-
someone to wait to 18 to
in
make
anything.
massive decisions.
Well, there we go. We don't even let you vote. You're not even allowed to take part in society. But we're going to let you fucking do that. It's insane.
Here.
And doctors, I don't understand it. Like, they take a Hippocratic oath. There should be something in there.
They need the permission from the parents while they're still.
And the parents are
It doesn't matter.
questioning themselves, am I a bad
There's
present for oppressing, or do
It doesn't matter. There's anti-vaxxers
just
out
saying.
there, so parents are fucking yahoos anyway. It's ridiculous.
Parents are yahoos, and
I personally-
some parents get so scared, like I was saying, that
I personally know someone
They'll
that
do
would
anything.
totally sign off on their 15-year-old daughter
You
getting
do?
that. Oh, 100%.
We know people.
I want to hear the name after the
You
podcast.
once I say the name, you'll be like, oh yeah, sorry, I knew
Really?
that right away. Yeah, for sure.
Oh, no,
Most
I can't
interesting
even
thing,
think of it.
it just relates to it, is I read this week that the whole subtext of The Matrix is about going transgender.
Yeah, that is
Sorry, of the first Matrix.
the whole
First
Matrix
the
series.
whole
The
Matrix
whole
is
series
about
is about
transitioning.
because they transitioned right
Well,
after.
And they've been asked, but that's the biggest proof in the pudding. At the very end, it goes systems failure, and the camera goes into it, and it's between this end of system is a M, the beginning of failure is an F, and it goes between.
Okay, hold on.
And these are the director writers saying this.
So the very first Matrix,
Yeah,
The one that started all.
I am Neo, all that shit.
yeah.
Do you know the parallels? Like, besides that M and F thing, do you know the other parallels?
Only because of what the directors said they meant when they made the movie.
I'll pull it up for you at the break, Simon.
I need to see how that works.
There's a bunch.
The agents are transphobia. And I'll pull up the other one, but the red pill, like the Neo is the dead naming. He changed his name. He doesn't want to be anymore.
Yeah, he's no longer Mr. Anderson, Corey Anderson,
And
or Cody
waking up
Anderson,
is
whatever.
deciding. It blew my mind too. But they, over the course of the movie, made the transition. The two brothers became sisters.
Yeah.
And that's what it's all about.
Hold on, I'll find it, Simon. Let me find it real quick, just while we're Matrix.
Well, that's all I had for this, anyways. So we can look
That's a
this
big
up
bomb, yeah.
outside if you want.
Mm-hmm. Sounds good. Guess we'll have to rate this controversial podcast. And like I said, I don't think Joe has to have anyone on this topic again after this. This is a definitive discussion to end all discussions. I mean, people are going to argue in the streets over it, but
I don't think. I think now he has to have somebody from the other side, I guess.
yeah, that would be interesting. That would be very interesting if you had someone who could debunk everything she said. But I don't know because she's sciential and factual. Anyways, that being said, my biggest qualm was the technical delivery because she was from Skype. This was some talk over and just wasn't smooth if she'd been in the studio.
Wouldn't you imagine, Kamar, that if we were all kind of, if we're actually like our consciousness is of one and it's in one kind of big place, don't you think gender is like irrelevant at that point, and you'd be probably pretty fluid in that state anyways?
It is, yeah, definitely.
I would think so.
I give it 3.5.
I'm also going to give it a 3.5. I think she did a great job. I didn't care for it at all.
It's weird because I find these talks I'm indifferent. I mean, first of all, I find it weird because it backs up your opinion. Like, it's not like she was saying anything that you thought was
No, and I'm not. I just, like, again, we've had the
climate that you're not allowed to talk about
We
this
just
stuff
had
is the
this
problem.
conversation though. Like, we just did. I'm sorry, we did. If you go back and listen to the last one, it's exactly the same conversation.
I disagree, but
okay.
without the Matrix truth bomb.
That was quite the truth bomb. I really have to look into that.
that wasn't even in
is
this episode. So
weird.
you brought that up.
Yeah, good work, Kamar.
I know.
I know.
Oh, you're actually talking literally that episode.
Okay, well, I guess we're gonna.
You're gonna score 2, or rate it.
Didn't I give it a 4?
Oh, did you?
Did you?
Oh, 4. Yeah.
Wow.
I listen. I
So
thought this woman was really well spoken. She's it. I find that when I listen to episodes like this, I'm like, the world is fucked.
She wasn't emotional, but would you give it more if it was in studio? Because I just found it was sort of awkward conversation up there.
There was only a
Give it
few
a
times
2.5. I changed my mind.
you went down.
Yeah. Because I have to take into account that it didn't entertain me. It didn't like
Simon, please take your hand off the mic.
2.5.
He's not entertained.
I'm not entertained.
All right. Well, we're going to
Let
take
the meat cake.
a quick break, and then we'll pay some bills, and then we'll be back.
And we're back.
Name and a number, Simon.
Scatty 1421. Josh Dubin and Jason Flom. That will get the laughing out of the way now because the rest of this is fucking depressing.
No, there's no laughing in this episode.
No.
Oh, we'll just say this. One of the dudes looked and sounded like Ray Romano.
Oh my God, that's exactly what I thought. Here comes the laughs. The music producer or the agent guy,
100%.
I didn't notice.
I kept closing my eyes going out.
Oh, dude, it was nuts.
Now I want to listen.
Even Mary was like, is Ray Romano on Joe
I thought it was
Rogan
Ray
right now?
Romano.
The other guy is like a legitimate saint.
And he's a lawyer, which is just
No.
impossible.
Ray Romano was the lawyer.
No, the other guy was the lawyer.
Okay,
Ray Romano.
Hold on. The other guy,
Yep.
The boxing
not the
manager.
lawyer.
Yeah.
He's the saint.
They're both saints.
Yeah, I know, but he's the one who has like the massive amount of money that's like
Because he
putting
managed
people
Skid,
up. That's right.
all the bands. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah.
Stone Temple
exactly.
Pilots.
So that you think that guy sounded like Ray Romano?
I believe he did.
Okay. Good stuff. All right. So now that we got that out of the way. Yeah, I find like my wife, we talked about this a little yesterday. My wife loves watching these types of docs, you know,
Wrongly accused. and
wrongly
whatnot.
accused. I can't. Like I love crime documentaries, but not the wrongly accused ones. They make me so angry
Oh, it makes my fucking blood
watching.
boil.
And here's something, and I know you'll be able to appreciate this. So you know how there's always like a judge or a lawyer who even after the fact when all
Is
the
so
fucking
overzealous to be like, nope, they still did it.
they still did it.
The
Those
woman still thinks the 5 people did it in the Central Park
Dude,
5.
that's
like,
that's exactly. She's dead now. I think she died
don't
of
think-
cancer.
no.
Anyways, but that's exactly my point, Maddie, is somebody like that, a woman like that who went out of her way and still, even after they're proved innocent, still goes out of their way, she should then be punished because there has to be some deterrent
I
for
agree.
people to act like that. And if you're just going to keep
Totally
letting these
agree.
people get off and letting these judges stay in power where they've clearly abused it, like...
The craziest thing was that, and it just skipped over, that the lawyer in the Trayvon Martin case was the judge's.
Oh my God.
And she
husband?
wouldn't withdraw herself.
Wouldn't recuse herself? Unreal. Like,
That-
just
so-
fuck off.
But why does she get to
Yeah,
decide? At
no,
that point, isn't there like a bigger judge? I'm sorry, Kamar, who steps in and is
Who
like,
just says,
fuck
"Oh, that's
you.
wrong. Can't do
Fuck
this.
you, man. You don't get to decide. You're out of here. Yoinks. And not only that, because you wouldn't recuse yourself, punished.
But what I'm saying is what's even crazier is that imagine you're the defendant and you stand up in court and go, this is a travesty. This is fucking bullshit. I want a different judge. Contempt of court.
Well, that's-
month in jail.
That's the problem here is Trayvon died, sadly, and can't be brought back.
No, I get it, but I'm just saying, imagine, like, what I'm saying, Kamar, is first of all, there's just too much power involved there. Like he was saying, like the judge, yes or no, do you want bail? Yeah. I said yes or no, do you want bail? Yeah. It's a yes or no. Yeah, I want bail. All right, well, you don't want to answer my question? $2,000 bail. Like, what are we fucking doing
And then
here?
like the technicalities, right? Where they're like, you have to ask for your own DNA. But they were saying the DNA didn't exist. So what's there for me to ask? But then when you agree that it exists, and I didn't ask for it. Now I can't have it. Go fuck yourself. This is crazy.
What I was thinking, this is another situation where our competitive nature bites us in the ass.
It's ego.
Hold on, though.
And they should have to do mushrooms. All lawyers.
Stop.
Twice a year, mushrooms.
So this is where I was kind of, I agree with it in principle, but I think there's more to it. I think sometimes as well, when you're like a district attorney and you go to prosecute someone and you've spent like a lot of time accusing this person of the worst kind of heinous crime, and then you find out that they're innocent, I think it can be tough on you as well to sit there and go, I think it takes a certain kind of person to just go, shit, I was wrong, but this is my job and I just have to move on. Hold on, I think there are district attorneys out there like that are capable of just going, wow, we got this one terribly wrong, let them go, and that's that. I just think there's so many overzealous fucking, it's nuts. Every story they told was gut-wrenching.
And it's like, you can't even, I mean, I know how you said it's systematic racism, but like Kamala Harris was a huge problem, but she's black. So she's racist against,
yes, she's racist against her own people.
Okay, I've seen it all. I've seen it all.
Benedict Arnold, is that the term?
A traitor.
So there you go, man. Like and you know what? This is a really important point. Remember that. Remember what Kamala Harris is willing to do when she ends up on that fucking ticket.
Well, listen, those numbers, 4% of the population, and they have 25% of incarcerated people in the world. That's insane. That's not a free country
for drug crimes.
Well, that brought up another thing too. I was like, we legalized pot almost 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in October, right? Because that's when we started the podcast. It'll be 2 years. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So 2 years. They're already talking. Simon, you're burning the mic. It's already been
the greatest moment of podcast history.
I tell him new mics are in the mail, and he just starts burning the old ones.
This tastes foamy.
It's coming from the guy who used the fucking remember to buy more rollies to fucking roll his joint.
What was I gonna say? Fuck, I had a good point.
I'm sorry, Matt. I'm sorry.
No,
we're going to get you back there. What was he talking about, Kamar?
He was talking about
Kamala Harris.
5% of the population, 25% in jail.
No.
4% of the population.
Yeah, 4% of the population, 25% of the people in jail. Either way, I lost. It's fine.
I'm sorry, Matt.
Listen, there's no way anything I was saying was important.
And 50% of them are nonviolent drug crimes.
Oh, that was it. I got it. I was saying we legalized pot not even 2 years ago, and we're already as a country discussing legalizing all of it. And I just think that's an interesting juxtaposition. Like, even if I think about 5 years ago, here's a good example. I was telling Simon this week. A girl five doors down from us, Kamar, she came over this week and she was like, hey, just so you guys know, someone stole my weed plant from the back. And she was super bummed. She was like, it was like 10 feet tall. I've been watching it forever. And then like 6 other neighbors, and I'm talking like neighbors that you would not fuck. I have these 2 Asian neighbors. They have young kids. I always thought when they walked by, they were like fucking weed heads, whatever. They even came by and they were like, hey, just so you know, the girl down the street, her plants got stolen.
That's
so you
a
might
good
want to watch
community
out.
you're in, buddy.
It is, isn't it? But it made me think of the climate and the change, how quickly, like even if you go to Supret and you look at the fucking lineup, it's not what you were told it would have looked like 20 years ago.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
Just stoned in the streets, losing their job, just...
Not even that. If you were told what a pot smoker looked like 20 years ago versus what you see lined up at Supret, it's a totally...
It's anybody.
Exactly. And I just think that if it took that, I think if the states were to legalize pot, it would be a quick turnaround. But I don't know what... It
has to be.
But I don't know what they would do because that's such a big machine right now. The criminal...
Yeah, well, but I mean, if there's one thing we all agree on, it's the decriminalization of drugs has got to be done because the war on drugs is just just failed. The war on the courts on drugs has just failed. It's
what a weird country. Imagine living one county over from Colorado and going to jail for pot.
Well, I was just listening to a guy who was saying, I live in whatever state, it's illegal here. And I get in my car and I drive 10 minutes over the border to where it is legal. I buy my weed and I come home. It's just as far as driving downtown to, like, what are we doing here?
That's my point.
What are they doing there?
Yeah, what are they doing there? Yeah.
I meant that as a more rhetorical question for everybody,
I mean, let's keep in mind, Kamar, they still are throwing people in jail for it here in weird ways. Like I was thinking about something the other day that hit me. We constantly do this. We talk about how we're like, they need to, any drug crime, whatever, shouldn't be anything. And then we go, except for trafficking. Trafficking is like one that we all, and then I thought about it and I was like, why?
Well, because they're trafficking everything.
But even then,
There's your fentanyl, there's your everything.
but my point was like, when we all got pot when it was illegal, someone had to traffic it to get it to the person that got it to us. I don't know. There is no drug crime to me unless it involves violence. That
No,
you know what?
it becomes a dollar and cents issue because this goes back to now that weed is legal and it's being sold in legal places, then these people who are like, if you want to sell weed, then do it legally, right? Like that's the idea. And if you're not going to do that, then you need to be punished, not by necessarily jail though. It should be really hefty fines.
Sure.
And like ridiculously hefty fines that are going to dissuade people. But you're right. That's what it should be. Is that your argument?
Well, no,
'Cause
but
they
I was-
still have to be punished.
What I was also going to say, though, is you often hear people say, well, because I hear this all the time. They're like, well, heroin's super expensive because it's illegal. And if we legalized it or decriminalized it, the state could just start giving out heroin for super cheap because it would be cheap. We know from experience that pot didn't get any cheaper.
No, I think the argument is more that the heroin would be safer.
Safer, yeah.
Yeah, but they
Because
also
of
say it would be a
fentanyl.
lot cheaper as well.
Yeah, but I never
That's
hear
neither here
the
nor there.
argument of cheaper as in that's why we should decriminalize it. It's not to
It's
give
a
us a
health
better
issue.
Well,
give
I
us a better
understand.
deal on our fucking
No,
shit,
but even then,
you know?
that was always the argument I heard was like, listen, everything once you legalize something, the black market's out of it. Therefore, all the fucking there's no you don't have to charge as much because getting it over the border or getting it over whatever isn't.
Yeah,
but
no,
it-
you're 1,000% right, Matt. We are the glowing example of that because they legalized weed, but the government still keeps their greedy little thumb on top of it.
And they're losing money.
This is
I
true.
know they do, I know.
And because they keep it so expensive because they can't figure their shit out, they prop up the black market. They're stupid. Like you're
may take some
absolutely
time for it to
right.
work
It's
itself
also the
out, but hopefully in
regulation.
the right direction.
Regulation costs money.
But I was saying the trafficking.
I'm not saying there should. Sorry, go ahead.
The trafficking problem is the same thing as buying the Nike shoe. Eventually, it gets somewhere where
Yeah.
you're supporting bad stuff happening.
The Venn diagram of the whole thing, and in that case, it's probably pretty close. You know.
And it'd be a cash crop. All that money that the government could make off selling drugs. I know as crazy as it sounds, me saying the government could do something, could pay for the defund the police programs. Like it's such a cash cow.
First of all, you don't need as many police if drugs are legal. Problem right away is solved.
And
maybe
most
the
of-
biggest breakthrough thing that we could possibly
And
do.
most of the times where arrests go badly are over drugs. It's either somebody being high or some drug arrest or
Yeah, but that's not going to change. If you legalize drugs, there's still going to be people high out there.
yeah, I know, but they're not going to be being pulled over all the time.
Well, you
for
can't.
nothing, you know, because you're not going to be able to search somebody. Why would you search them for something that's legal?
Everything goes down.
it
Everything
doesn't make
goes
any
down.
I get it. I'm just saying, though, that you can't argue that there'll be less high people out there once we legalize
No,
everything.
I'm not. I'm saying that when you're high or drunk and you get arrested, maybe you're not making the best decision as to what you're going to do during that arrest. You know?
I get that. Yes, if you're like, well, I have
You have
fucking
your
4
wits
grams of
about
heroin
you.
on me. I'm going to have to fight this cop because I'm going to go to jail for fucking potentially 25
because I
years.
have 2 strikes in a 3-strike program, and
Not
this
even.
is-
They spoke about that guy that first offense. He had to say it twice.
What about the lady who got pulled over or got taken in because she hadn't paid parking tickets? Like, this is insane.
The weird
man.
thing is, though, I was thinking about it just in a microcosm that, like with my case, there's no way the DA has a date on the wall, like
No.
wanting to bring me down. On the other, they have so many cases, so much going on. You know what I mean? I don't understand how.
We're also in Canada.
Yeah,
What's your point, though?
how there's? You wouldn't imagine that for all these courts that they don't have time to take these cases personally. Like, is it the
But come on, I think you're looking at
publicity
the.
that makes them choose this case and stuff?
I think you're looking at it the wrong way. I think you're looking at it like it's a personal vendetta. I think they're just like, oh, this person's poor.
These are no. It seemed like personal vendettas to me. These cases.
Well, no, like I said, I don't think anyone gives it enough. You've accused someone of murder or rape, and then you find out you're wrong. You either have to apologize or double down. And usually doubling down is a lot easier than apologizing, especially when you have to go to that person and their family and say, hey, remember the last 6 months where I spent telling everyone you were a rapist and a murderer? Oh, yeah.
Or they have the loophole where even though you're still in jail, you're just in custody. You're not incarcerated anymore.
That shit is so fucking unreal.
They're covering their ass. Like it seems like the whole thing's a fucking
For that guy to
scam.
be out too, like he was out and living his life, and then they fucking send the FBI in too. And that shit always fucks me up too. This guy is a non-violent.
He's a singer.
Like when you send that much force, you almost are asking for more trouble. Do you know what I mean? Like where you could easily just send one person and say, listen, I know this is not how you want this to go down. Or you send two, I don't know.
When
You have to
people
send
try to
two,
act
but-
more than human, they end up acting less than human.
So that lady who, interesting, that lady who got brought in because she hadn't paid her, she had
Unpaid
traffic
parking
violations
tickets or whatever, yeah.
And then I was like, so basically what they're doing is they're manufacturing prey for the predators. You know what I'm saying? And then look at something like the bail bonds when they were talking about the bail, that whole scamola. And you're just like, that is there strictly so that another party can like get their cut of a human life. You know what I mean? It's crazy.
It's an industry.
It's
Unfortunately,
crazy.
not justice.
It is a well-oiled machine, and like they don't want to fuck with that cash cow, man.
And I'd rather all that energy go to fixing that before racism.
I think we do, this one made me sit back too and go, I think we're a bit harsh on lawyers. Because no one likes a lawyer. Every time you have to deal with a lawyer, it's disgust, disdain,
good
it's
people
everything.
out there.
And then you sit there and this guy's a lawyer. That's
And sometimes you need lawyers the same way sometimes you need cops.
Although I found when he said he was a boxing manager, I went, he's a lawyer and a boxing manager.
Until you heard the
hard.
story
Of
of how he got there. and then-
Of course. Like, good luck to the person bad mouthing these guys. And their
but
intentions.
even then it was interesting him being like, and I never thought about it, like him being like, yeah, I represented Lennox Lewis, and someone being like, oh, what did he do?
yeah.
You never think about that, like, oh no, I needed a lawyer because I was innocent. And to
Because
anyone
I'm
young,
suing somebody, not anything to do with innocent or guilty. It's the other people who are innocent or guilty.
sure, or no, even then, I got a lawyer because I was accused of something that I absolutely didn't do, and I had to defend myself. And
Well, no, but I mean, even better yet,
Yeah,
like he
yeah,
was
yeah.
suing somebody
Exactly,
right away
yeah.
because he's black. You assume that, or maybe not even because he's black. Maybe just when you hear somebody has a lawyer, like, what'd you do?
yeah, no, and that's what I'm saying. It's an interesting thing that I'd never ever thought of,
The first question should be, what did somebody do to you?
or just what happened. What happened is a good one that covers all the bases.
That pretty much covers it all.
Sorry, Kumar, you had something to say there?
I was just going to say, I'm sure Simon's about to say it. Then they went over all the ways that they use evidence are completely.
But I mean, I think Simon listened to enough fucking. I know that all that shit is fugazi.
I did not.
You know, Dexter is a crime splatter specialist.
Dexter is a crime. Okay, so that was a blood splatter, but the teeth,
blood
just
splatter.
so many
Yeah,
things are
they're all
that
useless.
you've heard in your life, like, oh, that's how they caught him, and they realize.
And that they used to just could win and lose cases. And those guys are still sitting in jail. So now we know for a fact, teeth things, totally unreliable. You could have no teeth. It looks like teeth looks like no teeth. And there's 1,000 guys rotting in jail right now over teeth.
Do you know they've found people with identical fingerprints?
Is that true?
Yeah.
I'll have to look that up. That sounds crazy. I thought it was
Doesn't
like
it?
a snowflake thing.
And that's the thing, is they realized something that they thought for 150 years was like infallible. They found out after 9/11, they were like, there's a few people out there that.
You know what was a crazy thing he said was, if you're pro death penalty,
Ray Romano said that.
Yeah.
I really want you to think about this. If you're pro death penalty, how many innocent people are you willing to kill?
And if you kill an innocent person and you're pro death penalty, you should get the death penalty. Eye for an eye, we all go blind. It's really just different. But
An eye for an eye, we all go blind.
but when you hear about some heinous crime, you're like, kill that fucking bastard.
Yeah.
Again, our like a conditioned response. We don't have the death penalty here, so it's a whole different story.
No.
But they just sentenced another Canadian death in China.
Yeah.
And imagine those court systems.
Over drugs.
You think like
Oh, I can't imagine that.
the
Shit. Fuck
evidence,
that.
the chain of evidence, all this stuff.
Well, like you saw
around
that
the world.
Claire Danes movie, or what's the one?
Romeo
where,
and Juliet.
No. Where they go to some like Thailand or something and get caught smuggling drugs.
I remember the movie. I can't remember the name.
Broke down hotel or so, I don't know, whatever. But it's like
That happened to those two Montreal girls.
What's the famous one? I think it's about those two Montreal girls.
The famous one. You talking about the two Montreal girls?
No,
There's something
about
Midnight
the
Express.
Midnight Express or Papillon or whatever, you know. But it got me to thinking. He said something about all these young people in prison. How much like talent and genius is just rotting away.
Who knows?
How many Picassos are in there? How many cures to cancer are just rotting away in prisons over
Unjustly.
weed charges or nothing, or, you know, fuck.
Or just an ambitious prosecutor.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, if you had to describe this podcast, it's like depressing, but uplifting that there's these two angels out there doing the work.
Here's a big question for you, okay? Now that this has been brought to Joe, and he obviously got real
Moved.
emotional
He felt
about
away.
it, is he going to become like an advocate, or is it going to be like, I'm too busy and this just gets kind of talked about and then forgotten?
We'll be hearing about it for the next 2 weeks with other guests.
I don't know. I don't know. I felt like he was actually
He's an
moved by
initial
this one.
advocate.
Yeah, no. So if you were a betting man, do you feel like this is going to become Joe's cause, or do you think this is going to
Like I said, just like
disappear?
when he read the First Nations books, that became his cause.
That was never his cause, though.
It's not like he's gone to a Cree Nation like reserve.
Well, he
and-
should give these
Is
guys
Joe going to put his money where his mouth is?
$1 million
I
bucks.
guess?
He should give these guys $1 million.
That's what I'm asking.
We'll see.
Or is he going to become like a Kim Kardashian? And isn't that weird that they didn't talk about Kim Kardashian?
Well, that's the funny thing. All these prison systems is like Obama, Bush, Clinton. Like Trump is just clean on this one. It's a fucked up system, but
Wow, you are okay. All right. Yes.
it's
Kumar,
got to be
you are-
fixed. But it's
You are
it's-
correct.
It's
Take
like,
the opportunity to boost up your boy Trump.
take the W.
What else I got here, bro? Death penalty.
So this says that no two people have the exact same fingerprint, but that fingerprint analysis now is being questioned because there's a lot of the
Abnormalities or
arches and shit and so whatever they call them. There's a bunch of
But
different.
no two people have the same finger.
When you said it, I believed you. Should have stuck with it. Not looked it up.
Well, no, I don't want to. I don't want to be
had
out there
to look
saying
it up.
false
I
information.
yeah, 'cause we're all about the
questioned
facts.
him.
Well, no, it's because when I heard it, it sounded like they were saying, but all it was saying was this: that fingerprinting is not what they used to. It used to be ironclad. A fingerprint was.
He said it. He said the only thing DNA, not
DNA.
fingerprints, not teeth, not arson, not this,
The
not
miracle
that.
of life.
DNA,
Yeah.
and I'll agree to that.
And I sort of checked out in this when they talked about the fighting.
The fighting.
They didn't talk about fighting very long.
No, and they did again make a good point as to teach kids to fight. Make it a course in school. Like you teach them all sorts of useless shit.
You know what I will say
This
though
is
is like
something that would help.
I know Joe started off in Taekwondo, which I find odd because I took Taekwondo as a kid and I found it to be the most like boring. I didn't learn anything self-defense, and I took it for like 2 years. I just found it to be really.
Well, when you take karate, let's say, terrible because you end up having to do all the katas, and the katas don't pay off until way down the line, right?
Wax on, wax off.
Wax on, wax off, exactly. I think Taekwondo, and I'm surprised to hear that. I thought it was more immediate. I thought you were kicking things right away, and like there was sparring, and
No,
I mean, maybe it depends on what dojo you go to, Maddie.
maybe. Who knows? I don't know.
Like I know when we were signing my son up for martial arts, we were looking at a bunch of different places and we went and did like a trial class at Kung Fu. I thought Kung Fu might be fun because, you know, Bruce Lee. But that was like a lot of like pomp. You know?
Yeah.
A lot of
I don't know.
And then we went to like a martial arts or a mixed martial arts place where it was like jiu-jitsu, Muay Thai, and that seemed a lot more balanced, you know. Get right in there, start doing things that seem more practical. Anyways, whatever. Sorry.
No, I don't know.
Yeah, Kamala Harris bad. DNA good. It brings us back to that, and I know I've told this story before, but to me, it's the one that like ticks so many different boxes. Is those 5 kids who were robbing the house? Guy ends up being home, comes out, shoots. They all get charged for the murder
of the kid, of their friend that got killed. Yeah.
And then the one guy who's in prison, everybody else gets out, but because he signed some sort of plea agreement, like they're holding him on a technicality. The whole thing is just so gross. They do that all the time where they know they're wrong, and they've exactly in a case like that where all 4 kids were the same. You let 3 of them out, but you're going to hold one of them because when he was 13 years old, he signed a plea agreement with you because he was scared to death to spend 50 years in prison and he only wanted to spend 35. Like,
What about Omar Khader?
which one's that, Kamar?
Well, he was the one who threw the grenade when he was like 13 or 14.
I don't think I know
Was
that
held
story.
as a-
Canadian kid. He
was held as a
held in
terrorist.
Canada for.
I mean, he got $10 million, and of course, a bunch of people got pissed off. But
Oh, I was right, by the way. $1 million a year. I said that like 15 episodes ago.
that's what restitution is for someone wrongly accused.
Yeah.
Oh,
Except we find out that they have loopholes that they. Can
Yeah,
get
but I
this
said
out of.
if you successfully get a civil suit, I believed I said it was $1 million a year because that guy got 18 million for every year he was in there.
back to Debra Soh for 1 second, because Joe did say he's moving by the end of the month.
Yeah.
Categorically said so.
Oh yeah, I think the first
Oh, you
Spotify
$10
episode will
Get
be in
that
Texas.
cashola ready.
The first episode will be in Texas. The first Spotify video when that crashes will be in Texas.
When that crashes, yeah. Anyways, yeah, so that was pretty much all I had for this. We could go on and on about stories of whatever.
But you should hear for yourself.
I mean,
We
I think
don't
it
do
would,
it justice.
I'll say this: I think it would be good of Joe to have these guys on once every 2 or 3 months. If you're gonna have Mike Baker on all the time, why not have these guys on to give us updates on?
No. Have them on. I agree with you. Have them on with like the guy who they're talking about or who just got out. Or
No. What I was going to say
You
is
know?
instead just bring to light all the new cases that we should
Sure.
know about or
Yeah,
ones that you're
perfect.
working on
The ones
currently.
you're working
ones
on,
we might be able
exactly.
to help with.
Yes.
Call Congress, call a congressperson, that sort of thing. You know,
Yeah, Joe could do that. He could do one a month for sure.
that's what I'm saying. That's
Just
within
cancel
his
out
purview.
you're
Get rid
absolutely
of Mike
right.
Baker, maybe a little less Tom Papa, just one less Tom Papa every 2 months.
There's room.
God, now Tom Papa's coming back on for sure.
Oh, he'll be
Now that Maddie's done this.
tomorrow.
Well, the thing is, these guys are doing this podcast, so I think he's probably better off just sending him to.
Well, hold on, he has.
Oh yeah, they have their own.
he
Podcast, but
has-
he has a way bigger
hold on.
platform.
He has to do Tom Papa and Joey Diaz this month. He's leaving California.
Tom Papa lives
Red
in
Band.
New York.
Tom Papa does not live in New
He's
York.
been there. Tom Papa's been on.
Tom Papa lives in L.A.
He's been on since COVID.
Tom Papa lives in L.A.
Are you sure?
Yes.
How does he keep bringing bread by?
How?
You think he's flying
Yes, I think
New
he
York to
brings
L.A.
it
with
in.
bread?
Yes.
It was in the Tom
Yes,
Papa
yes.
episode that Joe was like, I'm really thinking of moving out of here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And he's
because
been
he
on.
was visiting from New York.
No.
Red
anyways.
Band, Red Band.
I'm pretty sure that he's on Sirius, right? I thought
Goodbye to the
Sirius
studio.
was in New York City.
You put that
First of
together all
all,
the time.
as you know, you can do
Sirius is in New York City.
Simon. You can do radio from anywhere.
But he
CBC
doesn't.
has
He
fucking
goes into the
studio
building.
in London.
But that's it. Sirius has
Wow.
studios everywhere.
Okay.
Well, no, but they do.
It's definitely based in New York City.
Why don't we just pull up the phones and find
Well, here
out?
I'll just. Hey Siri, where's Tom Papa live?
Yeah, thanks. There you go.
Yeah.
And you can
put it to rest.
Kamar can
Question
stop being so fucking crazy about it.
it. What am I crazy about? I just said Tom Papa's been on since COVID. I'm a loon.
Tom Papa. It's not going to tell me where he lives, is it?
New Jersey.
That's
what
where,
I'm
no, it
guessing.
says that's where he's born.
Where does he currently reside? Siri.
Address.
Tom Papa residence.
Social insurance number.
Oh, this is terrible fucking podcast.
Yeah, okay. I'm gonna rate it.
Yeah, rate it.
I
We're
rated
good.
it-
We're done.
I rated a 4.
Yeah, I rate this one. I mean, it was a 4 and it was a 4.25.
Gets a 5 from me. Tough though. Like I hated listening to this. Hated listening to it.
That's where I differ. It was tough. It's a tough listen, but I mean, people say protest. The least you could do is listen to this to understand what's going on.
You're throwing away all your notes. That's it. We have one more
That's a fucking
podcast. to go.
Picasso on
I
it as
have
well.
the rest of my notes in a different thing.
Oh, okay.
And yeah, go listen to their podcast, support charities. What more can I say? Top billing.
I can't find where Tom Papa lives.
It's New Jersey.
So you're agreeing with me now. He doesn't live in L.A.
I don't even know what I said in the first place, but
Holy shit.
since COVID has happened, he's been there.
Yes,
so,
because he traveled there with his family. We went through
yeah,
this,
so
man.
he can be there again. Anything's possible. He's thinking he drives up the street. You think
He
flies
gets
across
on the
country.
plane with the bread. That's what he does.
Tom
And he
Pa-
No, and you know how I know you're wrong? Because other comedians that live in LA are like, Tom dropped off a bunch of bread today.
'Cause he
Tom's
was
been
in
dropping
town.
off bread.
Because he was in town.
Let me
So
just call
hold on, let me
He
get this
brings
straight.
suitcases full
Yeah,
of bread.
so this is now you know you're full of fucking shit. He brings suitcases full of
or
bread.
maybe he makes the bread. Maybe he stays at a place in LA and bakes a bunch of bread for the friends.
See, Simon, this is exactly what happens to prosecutors. They say someone's guilty, and then they get immediately proven wrong, and their fucking ego, just like yours right there, starts cooking up all this horse shit.
If you live beside Tom Papa and you're his neighbor, tell us where you live.
Why can't I, where does
Okay,
Tom
Because
Papa
we got to
live?
get on
Yeah,
to
we
the
gotta move on.
podcast.
I'm not
of the
asking
week.
about that. I'm asking why it's not giving me a fucking answer.
Well, you're going to have to move on. Let's
No, you have to move on.
1522, the Prince of Hollywood,
Rob
the man
Lowe.
everybody loves,
You're going to love this real quick,
Rob Lowe.
just to wrap it up.
Yeah.
This is from Tom's official website. You're not going to like this, and I'm not going to like this.
Arizona.
When not touring the country, Tom lives in New York and Los Angeles with his wife and family.
Boom! You're both right. Amazing.
That
'Cause
is very unsatisfying.
He's got enough bread to have two places.
There you go. But he always comes
So
on and
that
talks
makes
about how his
perfect
kids are
sense.
going to go to.
He lives in New York most of the time because that's where he does his radio show from. Then he comes to Los Angeles every once in a while. He cooks a whole bunch of bread.
Simon.
He drops it off
Simon,
at the friend's
Simon,
house.
Simon's right.
He does
I have to
Rogan.
stop you. I cannot say this enough. You can do fucking radio anywhere. Sirius has studios in LA and New York, just like every other major radio player in the world.
Where does Howard Stern do his podcast out of?
He's from New York.
for
He's-
sure. Rob Lowe may be the greatest looking man of all time.
Oh, fuck, whatever. 2022, Rob Lowe.
1522, Rob Lowe.
You think he's the best looking man of all time?
He's a fantastic looking
He is
man.
a great looking man.
Has
Of course.
aged fantastically.
He is Soda Pop from The Outsiders.
But the movies, eh? The movies, everything. It was just, where do I start?
Look at you. You're just fanboyed out, huh?
I was
You're like excited. He's giddy.
Because because I want to talk about it yesterday, but
Look at how giddy he
there's
is.
a certain
I love this episode too.
there's a certain level of fame. You could be sort of famous and be dropping names.
Yeah.
But there's another little fame where you're just telling stories, and it's
You're
everything.
including names.
You're including names, and it's just like we always say celebrities or whatever. You know what I mean? They only go on for an hour.
Oh, this was not. This was so different.
It was so different.
This guy wasn't Hollywood.
It was everything. He tell the stories. He's laughing.
Even when he was bragging about his kids, it didn't seem.
Well, as a father,
But you know what it is, Kamar? It was that I don't know. That like he even said it where he was like, "There's some people that I still want to meet." You know what I mean? Like there's still people who are on my list where I'm like, "Oh my god, that's so and so."
that insight to fame, and that even if they fall off, if you run into them, they're still famous. Like it's a social construct for sure. Fame,
Of course.
You know what I mean? And having this guy talk so candidly about it because he's been around.
But Kamar, I think the other thing is what's really interesting is like, so Rob Lowe has made it to the top of like TV, movies, and this and that, but now he's starting a podcast. So he looks at Joe as like, "You stop it with the fucking throwing of the notes there, Letterman." They keep hitting him in the face. I think he's so into his new podcast that he came on here and was like, "This is the guy."
Well, of course, and he listens to, I don't know, every episode like we do, but he
Well, it
listens
sounded
a
like he
lot,
listens
and
to, yeah.
using a lot of references.
Were you telling me about that show where they go back and look at the old Pimp My Ride cars, where they are now? Was one of you guys telling me about that?
I
I
wish
think it was
that
Jara
person.
telling us about
That's
it.
a funny concept for a show, man. Because those things, of course, don't age well. But I would love to see where they ended up. Because, you know, you got it done. It cost them fucking to put a fish tank in your car or whatever, 20 grand, whatever.
With 42
it is.
speakers.
But do you not know the story,
5
Simon?
TVs.
Most of the time when the show was done, they had to take a lot of the stuff out.
Oh, it only worked for the show.
Yeah. Like a lot of it too was like, this isn't actually, you're not getting all these, you just get whatever. Like we did the car up, but you're not getting the 42 TVs. If you want to put 42 TVs in after, feel free. But we're taking them all back.
Super lame. Anyways.
One of the super interesting things that I think he gave us insight to is why people don't necessarily talk about AA and stuff on podcasts. They say it puts too much pressure on the program and the person. Because if I say, okay, this is how it all worked out, and then a year later, whatever, I faltered, then you give so many people an avenue to say, see, it doesn't work. It
Well,
doesn't
the
work for them.
program apparently tells you not to.
Yeah, but we've wondered in past episodes why people like I don't really want to talk about it, whatever.
I'm saying, like he was saying,
articulated
that the program tells you not to do that, so it's in their doctrine.
I could see someone else recovering through something different and having that same mindset that, you know what I mean? Even though I want to help people, I don't want to trash what worked or risk what worked for me. I just thought it was poignant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he right away, I was like, I knew I wasn't an alcoholic when he was talking about that.
What
Well, just when he was like, if you're a true alcoholic, he's like, if you're the type who's like, well, I'm just going to Europe, I'm just going to have a glass of wine. He's like, you can fucking set your watch to it.
and then I'm gonna have a lot of cocaine.
Yeah.
because it's good and you get the best stuff.
Because I can have a shot. I can have a shot here and there, no problem. And then you're not going to see me fucking fly. But like I always contested, I just had a drinking problem. Wasn't an alcoholic.
Out of all the people out there that I knew who were drinkers, yours, I mean, it was a problem.
Yeah, but that was it. I was a problem drinker. I wasn't an alcoholic.
Yeah,
I think there's a big.
I think too.
I think there's a big difference. I think that's the thing too. Is I think I know a lot of people that are problem drinkers. They're not necessarily like alcoholics.
When you turn up, you get too lit.
Yeah. Oh, that was me for sure.
That's for the young people.
Well, because to me,
I don't know, because I could see just because it works one way and it's true one way doesn't mean it has to.
No, I know what you mean, but what I'm saying is I think we know a lot of people that they don't necessarily like, it's not like they wake up and they have to have a drink or that they feel that need to have a drink, but they're just always in a scenario where drinks are had and they put themselves in that, you know what I mean? It's, I don't know. I think we also know a lot of people that still live in that industry.
And he had no problem with other people doing drugs.
Yep. They smoked cigars.
He was he would do anything. He'd chop something with the samurai sword if Joe asked him.
How long do you think it's going to be before we start seeing like a prepper car? Like
They had it. That vehicle they showed.
Yeah, no, that's like you have to like get that modified, blah blah blah.
I think the company makes it that way.
No. I'm saying it. That's like a special car. I'm saying how long before we see like the Acura apocalypse? You know, just a real mainstream.
I'm sure there's concept, but if I ever made a lot of money, I decided I'm buying one of those trucks.
One of those trucks. Yeah, that makes sense.
Because I have a place to park it, or
Yeah,
you'd be on the road, or
well, you
whatever
should
you want.
you should have yourself a little camper, anyways.
I want one of those trucks.
Okay, well, there you go. Okay, people, that's what your Patreon money's now going to buy is Kamar one of those prepper trucks. Can we talk a little bit about ancient civilizations since they talk so much about them?
We must.
They didn't talk. Hold on, stop. I hate when you do this.
Kamar, how much did they talk about ancient
They
civilizations?
talked about everything. I thought we were going to talk about him freaking out that there's got to be a space force and Joe just shutting the whole thing down.
What do you mean?
Well, Rob was going to get into the moon missions and all that, and Joe just was not having it. But they did talk about ancient civilizations. They talked a hell of
Not
a lot
though.
about Bigfoot.
A lot. They did. They talked about Machu Picchu. They talked about Egypt. So there was a lot of ancient
Hold on, stop.
civilizations talk.
Stop. Joe said, I would like to go to Egypt. And Rob Lowe said, yes, I imagine seeing the pyramids would be nice. That was it. That was the
No.
Egypt talk.
No.
And then they touched on Graham Hancock.
Oh, they talked about Atlantis.
Listen.
Alanis Morissette?
Let's not get bogged down
Atlantis.
in your negativity, all right? Interesting fact I heard about Egypt. About
fucking guy.
80% of the structures are actually underneath the sand. There's like a whole world happening underneath Egypt.
Buried.
And a lot of things back in the day, apparently, a lot of these ancient structures have very deep things going on beneath them. Interesting. Here's what I wanted to talk about, though. Rob Lowe was talking about how he went to Machu Picchu and he could clearly see with his own eyes great old construction at the bottom using these massive stones, and then things get smaller and it looks like somebody else did it. We know that there are two different times of building. This is a fact now. The question is...
Dude, you are the worst.
The
Go
question
ahead.
is, same with like Egypt. We know that Egypt is way older than the 5,000 years they... So what is going on with the fight? You tell me, Matt, as the big skeptic of the group.
No, I just don't
What's
care.
the fight? No, but use your brain.
There's no money in it.
Put yourself into the fucking shoes of the people, and you tell me why they are fighting it.
There's no money in it.
First of all, the they you're talking about is like 12 fucking people.
Well, in the case of Egypt, it is a very small amount of people.
Yes. So why are those 12 people fighting it? Who the fuck knows? Because they have nothing better to do and they've invested their whole life in it. How about that?
But there should be the WODE, the World Organization to Discover Egypt. And
Yes.
there should be cranes and everything just...
The
removing
WODE,
everything.
that was the worst acronym.
You know how...
Wode, man.
You know how if you're in, like, let's say the the Knights Templar or the Masons or whatever.
If you could just find
Well, the
yourself there.
Masons is a bad one, but let's say you're in the Knights Templar and you're like one of the last generation of the Templar that are left. And you have to, like, make sure that your secrets never get out. You know, that's your job.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's what these Egypt guys are like. Like, they just can't let the secret out no matter what.
Or that's what the Catholic Church is doing.
Well, the Catholic Church, for sure, Kamar. And if the burning of the Library of Alexandria, just like Rob Lowe said, that's in the basement of the Vatican right now.
Some remnants.
Put two and two together. The Catholic Church burned down the Library of Alexandria.
But kept some stuff.
They didn't save it and take it home. They took it and burnt it.
To
Like,
destroy the evidence.
fuck, man.
It's so plain in Jane.
Anyways, whatever. Okay, we can move off of...
What I was saying, Rob Lowe was more Joe Rogan than Joe Rogan.
Yeah, you said that outside. Do you think, Kamar, that you're better off not meeting your heroes? Because it's so few, like the Rob Lowe's are so few and far between.
Oh, if you met Rob Lowe and he turns out to be a total dick? Yeah.
Are you better off just not meeting your heroes, or do you just got to keep shooting your shot?
I think you're better off not meeting
Because
your heroes.
because remember,
then you have no heroes.
remember I told you a couple of weeks ago, maybe last week, that you guys were going to have to start checking your heroes.
Poignant, yeah.
You know who's on Epstein's log? The flight log, not necessarily the island,
Dave
but the
Chappelle.
flight log. Nope, I don't know about that.
Well, he's going right after me.
He's a clone. No, this is going to affect all of us. This one hurts. Kill your heroes. I'm going to give you a guess. Go.
Oh my God, just fucking say it.
Quentin Tarantino.
That doesn't kill me. He
that-
seems
that
totally
doesn't
like the
surprise
type.
me. He's the weirdest of the bunch.
Oh,
man.
but that hurts, man. I love Tarantino's movies. If I have to fucking Mel Gibson Tarantino, I'm going to be super pissed.
I don't have to do that what you do, so I don't have the same tortured existence.
You won't do that?
I could watch Braveheart right now.
What?
You think?
I'm going home to watch Braveheart.
What?
You think because of your stance, I'm like, yep, Braveheart's dead to me.
No, I think because of the fucking Holocaust, you're like, Braveheart is dead to me.
Send me the recording or whatever this evidence is or whatever it is that you saw that was like, I'm done.
What do you mean? He made terrible statements about Jews.
But he's always wasted.
His father is a Holocaust denier. Put two
Well,
and two together.
hold on. If my dad denied the Holocaust, are you going to stop hanging out with me?
If you said, I hate Jews, and your father was a Holocaust denier, yeah, we're probably not going to be friends.
Well, hold on. Like Kamar said, if I'm drunk and I'm saying it jovially, like, I hate Jews.
He wasn't drunk and saying it jovially.
He was like, was he being held by the police? Like he was under duress.
yeah, and he was...
He was experiencing police brutality. I don't know.
So he could have yelled at any race or any ethnicity.
Hold on.
And he chose the Jews.
What
He
if the
chose
cop's
the
name was
Jews.
Greenberg? You want him to go on a black racial tirade?
Don't
at that
go
point?
on any racial tirade.
I bet Rob Lowe and Mel Gibson's paths have crossed. And
I bet they're not friends.
you hope they're not friends.
I'm willing to put money on the fact that they're not friends.
Okay.
I don't think anybody's friends with Mel Gibson in Hollywood.
Yeah. Anyways, I can't think of something outstanding that I really liked and now I just don't like. And perfect example, I give Michael Jackson.
Do you have? Do you remember the Lambada?
The Forbidden Dance.
Yeah. Do you remember when that movie came out when we were kids and it was like a big deal?
Not even the movie, the music video.
I thought it was all started with the movie.
No, it started with the song.
Oh, and they made a movie about the song? Hilarious.
Talking about La
It was
Bamba?
the 80s.
No.
What did you just say?
Lambada.
Lambada.
The Forbidden Dance. That's like where they grind up on each other.
Yeah.
Lambada. La Bamba. That was another great movie. How come you haven't done a movie game yet? What's going
I
on?
was just getting ready to the movie.
Lou
game
Diamond
because-
Phillips?
No, what? Because I thought I was going to do The Mummy because
Ooh,
you said
great one.
ancient civilizations.
Brendan Fraser. They talked all about
Brendan
him.
Fraser ran in on
Yeah.
the, like all these Hollywood
Well, we
stories.
have to do The Mummy.
Then The Mummy it is.
What were you going to do, though?
Well, I was going to say how they talked about Juliette Lewis.
Yes, great.
I was-
Huge Scientologist.
Well, this is canceled now. And
Joe-
all those movies got to go with her. But they listed off a bunch of movies, and one of the most underrated performances of hers is California with a K.
I
Brad
love
Pitt.
Now
California.
and Brad Pitt.
Amazing.
Like, it's probably his best
Let's
one.
do both of
It's
them.
California. Well, actually, I was going to do Natural Born Killers because Oliver Stone, but
Hold on one sec. What are the odds?
Do I have to get you one of those shields?
Why did I spit in your face?
Yeah.
Sorry.
What are they? Oh, it doesn't matter. You guys are riding dirty. So let it go.
I still don't like it.
Oh, whatever. What are the odds that Oliver Stone himself is on the podcast and they don't talk about Natural Born Killers?
Well, wait a second. They, at a short period of time, who knows where they could have gone to, and I thought Rob Lowe and Joe talked for 3 hours, and they still didn't talk about a bunch of stuff.
It was just a great conversation. Can I point out that Joe was like, I really want to have her on the show.
No, he said we've talked about it.
She's a huge Scientologist.
I think he's had Scientologists on before.
Who?
Ex-Scientologist Leah Remini.
Yeah, only to talk about how terrible Scientology is. Tell me another.
Guarantee you he's had a low-key Scientologist on.
that he's known about. Because
I just said low-key.
anyways, okay.
No, I mean, listen, I'm just giving him and you the benefit of the doubt. I'm sure he's had a Scientologist on.
Stop, collaborate, and listen. It's the movie game where Matt and Simon go head-to-head to decide.
He's so rude when he wants to push things along,
because
that's not how you do things.
No, we started the movie game, and now we are going down a path.
All right, yes, fine.
Anything I did would be rude to bring it back. It's the movie game, the most popular game on the internet, where Matt and Simon go head-to-head.
You can't say that. It's like saying best sandwich in Ottawa.
No, it's definitely the most popular game on the internet. Can you pass me a pen? Is there an extra one there?
Simon.
Thank you, Matt.
Simon and Matt try to decide what year a movie was released, then the budget and the box office.
So what are we doing first?
We're doing The Mummy.
The Mummy.
Well, we're doing Natural Born Killers.
We're doing both. We're doing both, and it's a back-to-back, not this anything.
Yeah. So The Mummy, Brendan Fraser.
But definitely go and watch California if you haven't seen it. California, spelled with a K. It's not California with a K. It's just called California, but it is David Duchovny and Brad Pitt's best work.
Yes.
We're doing the first Mummy, the very first Mummy.
Mummy 1, The Mummy. So we need a year. What?
To satisfy the ancient civilizations, and I guess we're going to go for another hour on Bigfoot after this.
No, we're not.
How old was I when I first saw The Mummy?
An excellent question that would help you. Yeah. Starring Brendan Fraser, Rachel Weisz, John Hannah, Arnaldo Vosloo, Jonathan Hyde, and Kevin J. O'Connor.
As usual, I am going to be 1 year off.
Directed by Stephen Sommers. Yeah, that's been happening a lot lately.
Yeah, hasn't it? On both ends, Simon too.
Filmed in Marrakesh, Morocco. Oh, that's close to home. And
I rolled a real fucking chonger of a personal here. I don't know what I'm thinking.
Okay, I'm ready. Mm-hmm. Okay, you go first, Matt.
I wrote down 1997.
Oh, shit. I said 2006.
As often you are both wrong. It's 1999.
Well, one of us was way wrong. At least I was in the right
I
decade.
think I might have done my math wrong. Actually, I did do my math wrong. Okay, no problem. That's interesting.
I think you were thinking The Mummy Returns 2001.
No, he was thinking of Scorpion King with The Rock.
No, it's all good. Don't worry about it.
That's 2002. Prequel spinoff.
The Mummy with Brandon Fraser. Who else? Who was in it? You didn't give us the rundown.
I did. You were deep in getting your dates right. I think Brendan Fraser was always annoying. I never liked him as a leading man.
You said this was 1999?
Sir. Yes, sir.
Shit, man. These ones always fuck me up.
And I've come up with a great idea for a movie, but I'm sure it's working in Hollywood right now and going to be coming out. Or maybe a series of movies.
Mark, can you remind me for the post show, Neil Brennan, Brian Callen?
Okay, yeah, I can do that.
Thank you. I'm ready.
Okay, I'm so off. Go ahead, Matt.
I have $89 million to make, $495.8 million at the box office.
Whoa. I said $28 million to make and $190 at the box office.
Budget, $80 million.
Ho!
Box office, 416.
Wow. Good work, Matt.
There you go.
We got a fucking winner.
Good work.
Winner. What was the 460? Holy fuck. That is the closest I've ever been,
460.
maybe. God damn.
Okay, and the next one is Natural Born Killers.
Kerpow.
No, 416, sorry.
Oh, 416. Okay. Still.
It's in the neighborhood. It's closer than Simon did with anything.
Yeah, I was terrible.
And then Natural Born Killers, which we thought they should have talked out. Oh my God. And story by Natural Born Killers, Quentin Tarantino.
He wrote it?
There you go.
Interesting.
It all comes around. It all comes around.
So I guess we got to call this a Tarantino movie too, since we called True Romance.
Directed by Oliver Stone. It's a Tarantino, Oliver Stone collab starring Woody Harrelson, the one and only Juliette Lewis, Robert Downey Jr., Tommy Lee Jones, and Tom Sizemore.
Okay, I got my year. I said
No.
Sorry.
No.
He feels in the zone on this
no problem.
personal movie. Could you imagine hanging out with Charlie Sheen and Rob Lowe in New York City while they're filming Wall Street?
No.
Like, just insanity.
All right, Simon. You go first.
Okay, I said the year was 1997.
Oh, I said 98.
1994.
Wow, not even fucking
Cannot
close.
do it. You can't
Jesus
picture yourself when you were when the movie came out.
1994. Holy shit!
Did you guys see Twister?
Yeah.
But were we excited to see it, but don't know this is going to be a Hollywood piece of shit?
No, I remember being excited to see it and being like, "This is fucking
legit." Okay, right
yeah."
on.
Dude, I think I saw it.
That's the age gap.
I think I saw it the first week, like three or four times.
I was cheap planning and I came into town to watch it.
Oh yeah, I remember being like, "This is a big."
There was
That was
a-
the same year Jurassic Park came out, wasn't it? Twister.
It seemed like the game was changing with blockbusters.
Yeah, that was a big year for Blockbuster.
But I
I
can't
remember.
confirm those dates.
Bill Paxton or Pullman.
Yeah, we're gonna get to him. Don't worry.
Okay, so, well, he was in Twister.
Okay.
Yes, he was.
No, that was Pullman.
That's what I'm saying. One of them was in.
Or was that
They're
Paxton?
the
No, it was
same person.
Paxton.
They're never the same movie at the same time.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh wait, I just had the year. That's all I wrote.
Oh,
That's all you've
my
done?
God.
Okay, sorry. Give me 2 seconds. Well, I was deeply
Do you want
engrossed.
to hear my crazy movie idea? And I'm sure it's done.
Sure.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
Womanizer.
Go on.
Slinging this shit around. Well, guess what?
What?
He had a daughter.
Okay.
And guess what she did?
What?
She grew up to be a geologist.
Love it.
Love child.
Yep.
The hero is a woman.
It's been done already. Tomb Raider.
No. The Indiana Jones franchise comes full around.
It's like the girl in Karate Kid. I don't like it.
And this is also going to apply for James Bond because he slung some dick in the day.
Yeah. So
And he's
they're
got
all
a lot of
just.
girls
You're
out there.
turning every franchise into women, like the
But-
Ghostbusters.
Jasmine
With
Bond.
I'm out.
with the connection that they're offspring.
I'm out.
I'd like that more if it was like Money Penny, and I can't talk today.
Money punny.
Money Penny. Simon, go ahead.
Okay, for this one, I said it cost $24 million to make, and I said it grossed $110 million.
All right, I said it cost 42.7 to make, and it grossed 134 million.
People just weren't into violence back then. It cost $34 million to make and made $50.3 million.
Wow.
Well, that was closer.
But
Closer on both accounts.
it only gets really exciting for me now if one of you guys hits the dates, and even when you get a year off, it gets
Because the
exciting.
dates-
that's the movie.
You have a chance of the big shebang. Is that what you mean?
Bang on. Yeah. Oh, I mean, the budget and the box office, you have a chance to be bang on. The biggest thing I thought about is I believe the aliens could be like Avatar is. But in Avatar, the blues actually existed on planet. But there could be a parallel dimension where there's people like that who are the stewards of the planet that are upset that we're killing it or whatever. You know what I mean? It really, like he said, there was Avatar depression from that movie. Because people wanted
That's
to.
because people are fucking stupid.
They dare to dream.
I mean, yeah, it's you want to be in a different place, a better place.
That's what I imagine, though, interdimensional, like there are aliens on this planet, like the Avatar people, whatever they are, but like we're walking past
They're
each other.
just there.
It's just.
Well, dude, I know we talked about this in the Patreon, which everybody should join, by the way. But Bigfoot, it could be just coming in and out of dimensions.
100%. I mean, that's what Rob Lowe thinks.
Yeah, and all the more I've been actually giving a lot. What if they're just a species, not an Earth species?
What he called the ape man?
The ape man?
The ape man?
I don't know.
You don't remember him talking about it?
I remember
Detail?
him talking about it, but
He said he went somewhere, I think, where they said there's a ape man, and he heard it.
oh yes, he did 2 separate Bigfoot explorations, and he said he heard the tongue clicking and the
Lip sucking or whatever. With like,
yeah, and chest speeding. But I mean, here's what I'll say about the noises.
Yeah, but listen,
okay?
Rob Lowe's in
Go
nature,
ahead.
all the animals are going to be chest beating and lip sucking.
Yeah.
It's Rob
Oh,
Lowe.
you
Rob
concur.
Lowe,
He's
yeah.
so hot.
Oh, come on.
Okay. I thought it was a pushback from you.
But animals make crazy noises. Like Joe said it. Listen to an elk. They make crazy noises. Listen to a lynx. If you heard that out in the woods, you would think it was some crazy thing. The only time I give credence to the noises from a Bigfoot is if they sound like an ape.
They can only sound somewhat like an ape.
But why? You believe them to be alien. Why would an alien sound like an ape?
That would be if they were a flesh and blood creature. If they are an alien species, they could sound like absolutely anything. They could not make noise. They could speak totally telepathically, which they probably do. Like the idea of hearing an alien speak.
The thing is,
That's why when you walk by a Bigfoot, you're like, I don't see nothing. I don't see nothing. Because he's sitting there going, you don't see nothing. He's like John Cena.
These are
You
not
don't
the
see
droids
nothing.
you are looking for.
You don't see nothing.
No, dude.
Can't see me.
He could be doing that whole...
when I was in Costa Rica,
Yep.
there's a thing called howler monkeys.
Yes.
And it's sort of sounds like that thing that Brian blew on the
Oh, those things are
the
nuts.
death. Like,
The thing that started COVID.
oh, that's right. That's what started COVID.
Yeah.
Anyways, it sounds just like that. And like
Aztec death whistle.
someone has to tell you, don't worry, it's just monkeys that are a kilometer away or whatever.
Yeah, no. The
It-
primates make crazy noises.
crazy
For sure.
noises.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I would give it credence here if they were making like crazy monkey noises.
It's like a race to find Bigfoot, the keys to the ancient civilizations, or aliens.
Well, aliens are going to be first.
There we go.
The ancient
you heard it here first.
The ancient civilizations are obviously never coming out because there are so many people trying so hard to keep it hidden.
Technology, a million drones just dig it out.
And what was the
overnight.
third one you were talking about?
Bigfoot.
Oh, Bigfoot. Yeah. And that is all going to come down to when we understand dimensions,
Portals.
portals. Or conversely, when somebody does like some good exploration into the deep, deep woods.
And I don't know if it's psychosomatic, but Joe describing his experience on DMT, cliche as it was, I felt like I had the same thing. This gesture-like thing telling me to fuck off.
Is your argument that we haven't explored the woods? You say the deep, deep woods, like it's
There's
the
a lot
deepest.
of woods, man.
I feel like here's a perfect example, okay? Take the Loch Ness Monster. So for years, people said, no, this can't happen. And everybody would do these like dinky experiments to like figure it out. And then eventually somebody said, you know what? We're going to fucking do this right. We're going to sonar this entire lake at the same time. They stretched like 50 boats across the whole thing, and they just blanket swept it. They couldn't find it because he was obviously hidden in like tunnels somewhere. But they did their job. You know what I'm saying? They haven't done that for Bigfoot yet. Like, get a fucking crew of 1 million people together and start combing the woods.
No money yet.
No.
I love that Kamar actually exercises like he there's no money in it. He's playing along.
That's the only
Whereas
reason,
I'm
though.
looking at you like, what a fucking crackpot that I have to sit here
When
and
he's talking, I was thinking, wait a second, we'll just start GoFundMes. But then you have an organization that's trying to dig up the pyramids or find the Bigfoot, and then they qualm and we fall apart.
And
just can't be
Kamar,
done.
why? But hold
we
on, you just
also
get the
need
same 1 million people, you bring them over to Egypt, and everyone starts digging.
We also need another group who's going to explore the ocean. Like, there's a lot to do, man.
That's just not going to be done.
Well, James Cameron, who they talked a lot about in this episode, he's the only man who has put his money where his mouth is and said, you know what? If you fucks aren't going to go down deep, I'm going to go down deep.
Who had lunch on the
I was just gonna
deck
say,
of the
how much
Titanic.
money do you have to be like, where do you want to have lunch today? Like, do you want to go to the deck of the Titanic?
But then when
And
you
9/11 happened.
then when you come out of the water, it's like,
The whole
No one
world
cares
has
about this
changed.
right now.
That's like who was talking the other day about how if you were like in space and then you came home and coronavirus was going on, you'd be like, what the fuck happened?
or coma.
Imagine how crazy it would be if you were in space and like the coronavirus went real south.
And everyone died when you got back?
Well, I'm just saying, like,
Or you couldn't get back. 'Cause
That's
everyone
it.
died.
I was gonna say, like, I mean, those guys
You're
are trained.
trapped in space?
Well, no, first of all, those guys are trained for like those sort of scenarios to probably get themselves back
Go to Mars.
somehow.
No, they probably
Go to
it's
Mars.
like the
sorry.
first-
That would be
turn the
my
other way
worst
and go.
nightmare. Well, they'd probably just stay on the moon. There's like a whole base up there.
Well, that's
anyways.
what Rob Lowe was saying.
There's a base on the moon.
Well, what do you say? Can you believe the same technology that we're getting there is like, and Joe wasn't having it at all.
Well, they've talked very little about Rob Lowe's amazing television program.
Oh, you saw it?
I've seen episodes of it.
And
It's a little cheesy. It's,
because
you know.
it's too much Rob Lowe and not enough conspiracy.
Well, it's just he's there with his sons. But my thing is, if you're willing to kind of put your name on the line to do something fun like that, good for you. You know, I don't care if it's cheesy. Fine, whatever.
And if you get all the answers to these, and they're all logical, and they all make sense, and then life is just less fun.
Did you see Elon Musk tweeted out the other day a picture of the pyramids, and it just said, "Of course, aliens built them."
Are you on his side now? Like,
No,
I'm
but
so
he's-
confused with you
It's so like.
because my relatives made him. Of course, I know this.
No, I really think that Elon is working with the U.S. government. And I think this is like a little bit of disclosure, a little bit of disclosure. This is Elon weighing in that, yes, aliens exist. What I was driving at, though, Kamar, was the 9 people who are keeping Egypt from us that we were just talking about. They went crazy on Elon. They did this whole, like, the guy, there's one main guy, I forget his name. Anyways, he's like the main caretaker of Egypt's treasures.
He wasn't having
of history.
Elon's.
Yeah, he just
explanation.
got out there and he like ripped Elon a new one. And
Well,
like,
maybe we just have to wait for him to die, and then we can start moving forward.
Elon?
No, this guy is pushing back.
Yeah, that guy's real. He's a problem.
We won't see him for
He's
a
a
while.
problem. Well, I remember telling you a little while back. You know what? It doesn't matter.
And
Yeah.
then- sorry.
Sorry.
Of course, the decorticator. That was.
That's Joe's number one story. Okay.
believe so.
I'm putting it down. Remember, we were asking that a couple of weeks ago? What we all thought our number one. What does Joe tell all the time?
No, it's
It's the Hearst. That's
don't think
mine.
it is.
You don't think it is? I think it is.
I'm
It's
writing
too
that
long-winded.
on
It's
the
the
board.
hemp, the decorticator,
Yeah.
the blacks and marijuana.
It's the decorticator. If decorticator is involved, you know that. What do you think it is?
Well, mine is performing arts when he jumped the scene as a security guard.
no,
Pull this
it's the
hoodie up.
fucking. These kids weren't that great.
You think it's the Holtzman?
The Holtzman?
No
that,
way.
Yeah, Holtzman gets more callbacks
That's
than
That's
anything.
the number one a comedian's joke
No.
he tells. for
William
sure.
Randolph Hearst, number one callback on the Joe Rogan show. I'm willing to put my reputation.
No,
on
what
it.
I would say is this: is if Joe was going to produce one episode of Hardcore History using just the knowledge he has, it would be William Randolph Hearst
Oh, there it is.
and the marijuana prohibition.
You agree? I think he said it in the union he was in. That was what he talked about.
I mean, I'll put it to you this way: like once he started in, I found myself lip syncing what he was saying. Do you know what I mean? Like it's almost like I've heard it so many times that I was like, I don't know.
Joe's stupid quote of the podcast.
Do you have it ready to go?
Did you know that before? Just tell me when you're ready, Kumar. Did you know that before every match, BJ Penn watches Youngblood?
I didn't before this. Yeah.
The script just doesn't work.
Yeah. I know. When he said that, I was like, is this guy fucking serious right now?
I really did. Like it was like, well, there are some holes in it.
Yeah. And he was like, and they got rid of Jada Pinkett Smith. She was like a real integral part of that.
Because number one was Oscar caliber script writing, right?
Well, it was a better one. It was.
Yeah, I know, but it wasn't like it didn't get Oscar nods.
Regardless, it doesn't have to be criticized.
Yeah.
Even then, I don't remember Norbit being like one of the best movies ever.
I think we all see different things, and the coolest thing though, as I hope Simon got excited, is what made Rob Lowe know he was going to be an actor.
Oliver, because of the play Oliver.
You used to love that. I mean, I love Oliver.
Can I get some more, please?
Yes,
Governor.
I'm reviewing the situation.
Oliver wasn't such a big one for me. I don't know.
You've changed. I know Jesse loves Oliver.
Jesse loves
Oliver Twist. You know it.
How about-
I'm so shocked that neither of you can do any sort of accent at all.
No, I'm
you
trying-
are on stage often. You, I guess, have you have all
Consider
the
yourself a friend. Consider yourself one of the family.
That's Master of the House. That's from Les Miserables, isn't it? Yes.
That's Master of the House.
Consider yourself
is Oliver.
at home. Consider yourself
Part of the family.
We've taken to you so strong.
That's Oliver.
We're
going to get along.
No, that's
Are you talking about Master of the House, Keeper of the Zoo?
Different song
Looking
from
for
a different
an
play.
extra cent or two. Yeah, whatever. Anyways.
Oliver.
Okay, sure, it's Oliver. I don't care. What about Roadhouse?
I was born
Gay-
in a ditch. Roadhouse.
Gayest fighting movie of all time?
Still holds up. Watched it just the other day.
Are you kidding?
Nope.
That movie does not hold up.
Well, Jeff Healy, rest in peace.
He's
in it.
terrible in it.
He's blind. Like
No, okay, hold on. I'm gonna get
everyone's terrible.
I'm gonna get in trouble because he's blind. Why is he in that movie? Strictly because he's a singer.
I'm sure Patrick
blind
Swayze
singer.
liked his music.
Yeah, who tried to get his movie or his other song into Youngblood.
And
Only to have it end up being a hit in Dirty Dancing.
guys, you gotta put She's Like the Wind.
Yeah, in every movie he's in, it's written into his contract. You got to put this in there
And then throw him in the bus and showing him standing on the brick in the Outsider picture.
with his flats.
Oh, it was just, this is what we've always wanted, I think.
Dude, The Outsider was one of my favorite movies.
You know, it's
Like,
written by a 14-year-old
favorite.
girl.
Yeah, S.C. Hinton.
Mm-hmm. It's a
Well, that's a nice
classic.
piece of fucking trivia right there.
It is.
Well, also, it was how he said they were 15 years old and they're all getting wasted.
Yeah, getting
The
beer
culture
on
of
the set,
Hollywood was just
and how the
out of
lighting
control.
guys and the prop dudes were the coke dealers.
Well, the props, obviously.
Obviously,
the big piles of cocaine.
That's the only prop they have.
That's the only prop
Just a
you need.
ton of coke. Yeah.
You do this, you'll see
Yeah,
anything.
trust me. Yeah.
It's going to look like the Great Wall
and
of China.
Jason Bateman was on Little House of the
Yeah,
Prairie.
I knew that.
I didn't know that. That was crazy.
Jason Bateman has been around forever. His
He's
entire
next. He's next
life.
on. He might be a Scientologist.
No, he's not. So they talked about Atlantis for a little bit, and I listened to this whole thing about Edgar Casey, and he was that guy who like claimed he could cure people with his hands and he could see into the future. But he did this. He would like talk through things. Would talk through him. You know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
And
A medium.
yeah, exactly. And he did this whole thing where he like explained what Atlantis was all about. It's pretty neat, man. Like just as a story of what maybe could be. It's fun.
Hang your hat on. Hope. Would you guys listen to this podcast? I think it would depend on the guest. Like I'm going to download it, but I don't think I'll listen to every
his
episode.
podcast. Yeah. I probably won't become like a Portal subscriber, but you never
Well,
know.
you shit on the Portal before too. So.
But I'm not shitting on this guy.
No, Rob Lowe is like we'd even get how he really the come up. I got this movie and you know what I mean. It didn't matter. It was just.
I think his career was also too long. You know what I mean? Yes, his career spans so long that.
But he got rediscovered in Wayne's World. Remember, he was sort of a joke, and then he became the joke of Wayne's World, and then
he was so well. Wasn't he in Austin Powers too? He plays the young number 2.
Yep.
And then he was
That was in the second Austin Powers.
Yep.
Yeah. And then he was also in all the rest of the franchise.
But West Wing was like his big breakthrough.
Was it?
Big comeback, I'm pretty sure. Yeah. West Wing was the big one.
I was
No one
just
can
going
play Rob
to
Lowe like
say
Rob Lowe.
something he was in, though. That was very
My
good.
apologies.
I'll never remember.
Said almost fire.
Oh, we were just talking Parks and Rec. He's so funny in Parks and Rec.
Yep.
Like, he is fucking hilarious in that show.
Yep, he's
that
amazing.
show is really funny. Totally underrated.
Yeah.
If you're an Office fan,
Yeah.
you will love Parks and Rec.
What's his name's character? And that is fucking incredible.
The Jurassic Park guy.
Yeah.
Well,
Chris Pratt.
He's like this generation's Woody Harrelson.
Yes, agreed.
You know what I mean? He was
Yeah.
he was a
Woody,
part
I'm
of the
going to
jokes
steal
and
your
Cheers,
girlfriend.
and then became the actor that did everything. Although I think Woody Harrelson's a better actor.
Yeah. Okay.
We're done. Excellent. Can't wait.
Well, they talked a lot. He wanted to know a lot about DMT. He grilled Joe for a while on the whole. So he'll probably be doing that pretty soon.
Well, if they legalize mushrooms, then we can do it.
Well, he said he does mushrooms twice a year.
There it is.
Okay. Well, yeah. I mean, we can be done if you want. I don't know. Have you ever been to like a place where a disaster has happened?
I go to my bedroom every night.
Well, we had the ice storm here, so I was here.
Yeah. Well, I guess that's kind of a disaster.
I don't think, I don't know. What does that mean? Like I went to ground zero.
Yeah. Okay. That's interesting.
That's not. Yeah, is that natural disaster? Though?
Okay. Sorry. Not a natural disaster. I was there for the 1-year anniversary.
Do you guys like Fish and the Grateful Dead?
No. Yes.
Oh, absolutely not. No.
Either.
Neither.
Yeah. I don't
No.
get either of them. Bill Paxton fans?
Big fan.
Favorite Bill Paxton movie?
Paxton was the chill one though, right? One of
Paxton's
them
the
is an aggressive overactor.
No, Paxton.
Which one was in Independence Day? Pullman.
Pullman.
I think they're the same person.
No,
They're not.
Paxton is in Big Love. Did you ever watch that show on HBO about the polygamist?
Yeah, but that's not helping me.
Okay. Paxton was in Frailty,
Twister.
which is one of my favorite movies.
There's no fucking way that Frailty with Matthew McConaughey is one of your favorite movies.
Love it.
Are you fucking kidding
You
me?
don't think that's a great movie?
Simon, if I had a gun right now, there'd be a fucking crime in here. I'm not
You
kidding
do
you.
not think that's a great
So wait
movie.
a second. What movie?
Frailty with Matthew McConaughey and
Never
Bill
seen it.
Paxton. Please watch it.
Bill
Kamar, so you can
Pullman
settle
was
the
in
argument.
Spaceballs.
Yes.
Bill
Main
Paxton
character
was
is
in
Spaceballs.
True Lies.
Yes,
And
Pullman
that's what
is
it is.
almost
Kamar,
unwatchable.
can you do me
Paxton's great.
Can you do me a favor?
Anything for you, Simon.
Can you watch Frailty? So next week you can just say if you thought it was a good movie or not.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You know what, Kamar?
sway the vote.
No. Here's how much of a good person I am. Don't watch Frailty.
Trust
Don't waste
me,
your fucking
watch it.
time.
Kamar, you're gonna love it.
I can't wait to love it.
You know what's
7.2.
incredible? He is honestly, I actually guarantee you, Simon, that he comes back here next week and looks at you instead of me and goes, "That's really one of your favorite movies." Is it really one of your? You just said one of your favorite
Hey,
movies.
hey,
It's
guys,
been a long
hey.
time since I've watched it, but I remember loving it.
Expectation. Like, give
Yeah,
me,
yeah.
give me a
Don't
shot
build
here.
it up anymore
Okay.
for him. How about Spade telling the joke about Eddie Murphy on the Saturday Night Live, and then Eddie Murphy calling
Death
him
of a
up
career
and getting
and
angry,
getting him run around the office.
shooting star
That was amazing. That
or a
was,
falling star.
that's an amazing story. That was a sad about talking about
Chris
Farley. We've talked about that before. I mean, it was just everything. Phil Hartman,
Remember last week we were talking about Kubrick.
Stanley.
We didn't talk about Lolita. Lolita was. Have you ever seen Lolita?
No.
So Lolita was a movie he made where it was this fucking weird ass movie all about a guy who has an affair with a younger girl, I think is the gist of it. But there's all these like bomb drop, not Easter egg type things about like pedophilia and about these things happening in Hollywood because the guy was like an actor or something in LA. It's been a really long time since I've watched it. I'd have to look more into it, but it's one of those weird ones where you're like, Kubrick knew what the fuck was going on. I mean, later he did Eyes Wide Shut, which I think was like,
Wasn't Lolita?
But this was way
specifically
before.
about Roman Polanski,
Yeah.
or was it before?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Finger on the pulse.
I don't think it was about Roman Polanski.
Finger on the pulse.
Hold on. I'll tell you later in the post show.
Post Joe.
Yeah.
Um.
But I'm going to rewatch that as part of my Kubrick thing, and I'll let you know.
Anyways, I think it's safe to say we all thoroughly enjoyed this podcast. Whatever did happen. My only thing is that when they started talking about bombing, and he said, "Well, I have the ultimate bomb." I watched the whole thing. It's just not that bad.
It's not that bad. He ends his show with it. Oh, and how about how they stood up for retarded?
Oh, I knew you were going to be so amped on that.
I was super amped on that, man. Like,
You're not alone.
I'm not alone. And again, I have a nephew who is mentally challenged. Like, I wouldn't be out there throwing that word around willy-nilly if I thought it was really offensive. It's not about that.
I have a comedian friend who says I was talking to my mentally challenged son-in-law, not son-in-law, some relation to this person about Trump, and they even said, "This guy's retarded."
That's good.
And I saw him tell on stage, and it works.
Yeah?
No one.
It's
freaks out.
your joke?
No.
When I be hanging with you jabronis,
yeah.
if I could pull off retarded on stage, problem.
That's a quote right there.
All right. Well, let's rate them then.
All right. Let's rate him.
Kamar, we'll start with you, please. And thank you.
4.5 would have been a 5 if that bomb was as bad as he made it out to be. I loved it.
Simon?
I'm going to give him a 4.3. I thought it was a fucking tremendous episode.
I go to 5. Back to back.
Fuck, the big spender. Yeah.
This guy's just throwing fives out.
I love
I'm not.
it.
Listen,
I
I'm
love
not.
that you love it.
That's
And I
nice,
said
man.
I'd give it a 5, except I actually stopped in the middle of the podcast, watched that thing, was like, this isn't the biggest bomb ever.
Well, I mean, I didn't, and I just honestly, like,
Exactly.
I was like,
Oh,
this
it was-
this was a great episode. And I honestly thought the one before was really, this is both why you tune in. That's it. That's why they both get 5s.
Yeah, end of the week was strong. I agree. It wasn't 10 strong, but it was strong.
Rob Lowe.
There we go. I don't know what else to say. I guess there's nothing else to say, except thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We do have an email address. It's jreepodcast@gmail.com if you want to, I don't know, get in touch with us. Tell
Stir it
us
up.
something. These guys both have Instagrams. Simon has
Kamar
one.
Babar.
No.
Simon doesn't have one. Kamar has one.
At Kamar Babar, Instagram and Twitter.
There you go. The show's Instagram is JREE Podcast. You can find us on Instagram there. We don't post much, but whatever. There's a subreddit. It's reddit.com/JREE Podcast. You can join in the conversation. Kamar's on there.
There's a great moment on it this week where someone was like, what is the podcast where Matt tells a story? And then someone else piped in, it's this one. It was the 1 year special.
Oh, the
Oh,
one
yeah,
year
your
anniversary.
dad.
Because he said,
That's
I'm
amazing,
trying to
yeah.
get this podcast for my friend. So
That's amazing.
Oh, there you go.
use it.
Pass that along. His friend's a fuck. My dad's a lawyer and he's coming after you.
No, I don't. Well, whatever. It's a legendary story.
What episode does Simon talk about aliens?
Oh,
You should-
one
you should go
one
on the
through
Reddit.
94.
That one.
Yeah. And I guess we have a Patreon as well. If you want to support the show, you head over to patreon.com/JREE podcast. You can donate as little or as much as you want. There's different tiers. The tiers will start mattering hopefully once Joe moves to Texas.
So, for sure by the end of the month. Sorry, man.
Sure, no, it's fine. I don't really care about what I'm saying either. That's it.
And of course, follow us on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
You don't have to watch us. Like and subscribe.
Yes, please. The YouTube. Like, subscribe.
We're almost at 500, and then it's going to be 5,000, 50,000 in Bob's Jungle.
And go listen or go leave a good review on iTunes. Fight the trolls.
I think you're only going to get
leaving
that
a
call to
good
action if you
review.
stare them in the eyes.
Please fight the trolls.
Prove
Leave
Simon
good
right.
Reviews. And to get merch, I mean, no, okay, don't. It's fine. Don't do that.
Nope.
It's all good.
No, we're not doing that.
Don't buy that shit.
Whoa, easy.
It's a learning process.
Easy.
2020 goals.
Yeah. Whatever. That's it. I'm done. I have nothing else to say. We're going to record a post show and you'll get that later on in the week. Oh, yeah. No, that's it. If you're on Patreon, you get some stuff for it. Go check it out. Whatever.
Keep your eyes open.